4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
From the place yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor of 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to a Tuesday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all the great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM, Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, and as always, streaming on YouTube. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. I'm starting to wonder when I'm going to start to remember the new phone number. Every day I have to look to my left on the big glass that's in front of me and see the sign that has the phone number. Now, I understand and remember the 888-710-4ISN. The 888-710-4476 part is the part that I have not been able to remember so far. Anyway, you could always find me on the good old cesspool of Twitter or on Instagram, where I'm always straight flexing, at Zach Gelb. That's ZACHGELB. I'm not going to give a standing ovation, but I'm going to give a nice round of applause, by the way, to the NBA. Because a lot of times, right, I sit here and I don't enjoy the NBA product. I think the regular season is dog crap, and the NBA has turned into really more of an emphasis on the offseason and the drama rather than the play on the court. With that being said, though, the regular season was not all that great this year. The offseason setting up for this year could be very good, with reports about Giannis Antetokounmpo and Kevin Durant potentially being on the move. And you got some big coaches that are available, with Taylor Jenkins getting fired, Mike Malone getting fired. And obviously we had the craziness in season of Luka Doncic somehow getting traded. But with all that frustration, with all that bitching that I have done during the regular season, the postseason has been spectacular. And we are only in game one for the second round. And I know that we have another game one to get to when Golden State gets on the court tonight up against the Minnesota Timberwolves. But what we've seen through the first three game ones of the second round has been phenomenal. You look at the Cleveland Cavaliers. They dropped the first game, a very good game, up against the Indiana Pacers, and now there's serious doubt about the Cavs because we don't know who's going to be available tonight as they try to even up that series at one game apiece. And the Indiana Pacers continuously get disrespected, and people just look at them, oh, yeah, they're fine. Oh, yeah, they're pesky. Now, that's a good basketball team that the Pacers have. But what happened last night, I thought that was the best night that the NBA has had in quite some time. You had the Boston Celtics. They looked like at one point in that first half, they were going to take the New York Knicks and they were going to run them off the court in 4 games, and they were going to win game one by 40 points. And that's not hyperbole. Someone that I know very well, this guy named Jeff, who's the biggest Knicks fan I know, we were texting during the game, and he was like, they can't compete with them. I said they can't compete with them. I thought the game was over. I thought the series was over. And then you saw a comeback where the Knicks were down 20, and that, quite frankly, they should have won the game in regulation. OG Anunoby was phenomenal. Jalen Brunson, I almost combined phenomenal and sensational there, by the way, when I was trying to describe OG Anunoby. And I probably was going to drop an F-bomb in there too. But Jalen Brunson also was fantastic and sensational and phenomenal. But then down the stretch on that final play, Karl Anthony Towns, a heck of a pass. And I thought Jalen Brunson was going to hit the game winner, because if you didn't hear, and I know he won the most clutch player in the league award, but how many times is Reggie Miller going to say it? I don't know what said more in a broadcast. Doris Burke, when she's doing a LeBron James game, oh, he's 41. He's in year 22. Or Reggie Miller last night, he must have said it 10,000 times. If you took a shot in the final 5 minutes for how many times Reggie Miller is going to say, Jalen Brunson, the most clutch player in our league, you would have been on the floor and you wouldn't even have made it to overtime. And it was stunning, because of how clutch Jalen Brunson is. You're welcome, Reggie Miller. That Jalen Brunson missed that little bunny at the end of the game. But then the game goes into overtime, and I tweeted out right before the start of overtime, the offensive game of Mikal Bridges compared to the defensive game of Mikal Bridges are on two opposite sides of the country. One's on the East Coast, one's on the West Coast. Because Mikal Bridges' offense in that game one, up until that three-pointer that he made in overtime, was dog bleep. But his defense, in 50 minutes of playing in the game, his defense won the New York Knicks the first game of that series. And also give credit to Karl Anthony Towns, who at times in the first half looked absolutely lost. Like, there are games with Karl Anthony Towns when he steps foot on a basketball court where he looks like he could be one of the better players in the league. And then there are games when he's off and he just looks so lethargic and he looks so disinterested. He doesn't look engaged. And he sometimes just throws his hands up and is like, woe is me. And there were so many moments of that last night. But in overtime, Leon Rose, his biggest offseason acquisitions of Mikal Bridges and also Karl Anthony Towns, and it's only one game, they rewarded Leon for their belief and his belief in Cat and Mikal Bridges. Because Bridges, we all talk about the two-way star of Jaylen Brown, right? And we all know how phenomenal he is. There's a reason why he won the Finals MVP last year. And we all love his defense. How about the defense, though, of Mikal Bridges last night? And you know what, Knicks fans? Let me give you a little piece of advice. As often as Knicks fans are so quick in every defeat to just blame Tom Thibodeau, last night Tom Thibodeau was as good. That's as good of a coaching performance as I've ever seen by a Knicks coach. His defensive substitutions at the end of regulation, his defensive substitutions in overtime were phenomenal. Now, this series is far from over. The Knicks took one game. The Knicks stole game one, and they did their job. It would be extra sweet if they could find a way to take game two, and now the Celtics are dealing with some injuries. You would anticipate, though, the Celtics, with their championship DNA, they're going to bounce back and take game two. But I've seen crazier things. I have. But the job in Boston through the first two games is already accomplished. Because you needed to take one in Boston, and quite frankly, you won game one, where for most of the game it looked like you shouldn't have won the game, but you found a way. So that's a heck of a job by the New York Knicks. And also, the New York Knicks, I'll get to Boston in a second, make a damn free throw. This is becoming an issue. This has been an issue. At one point, I'm looking up, I'm like, there's 14 missed free throws. And that's when it was like a 2 or 3 point game. You got to do almost everything well to beat the Celtics if you're going to go get 3 more victories. And if you keep on being that lackadaisical and that inept and that incompetent at the charity stripe, you won't win this series. Now, on the other side, if you're the Boston Celtics, what the heck was that approach offensively? Now, I'm not an expert here. I am not James Naismith, all right? I'm not going to pretend to be Dr. James Naismith like I invented basketball. But I know a thing or two to be able to suggest when you are hellaciously bad at something, maybe you just try something else, right? And I don't need to be paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to give you that wise advice. But the Boston Celtics last night, and I know there was an extra session, they missed 45 3-point attempts. Is this thing on? Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. I just want to make sure that I'm living in reality. The Boston Celtics miss 45 3-point attempts. So you would think, Stu, right? Because Stu, let's be real. I'm not the voice of reason on this show. Samter isn't the voice of reason. If we need a calm, soothing voice to just give us an honest assessment and an honest opinion, you would think, right, if you're missing 45 3-point attempts, that at some point you'd be like, maybe we should take some two-point attempts. Maybe we should try to get closer to the basket. Maybe the Celtics should try to be a little bit physical and go for a few layups or a few dunks, right? That would be just conventional wisdom, right?
I would think so, yes.
Oh, the Celtics didn't do that. They said, let's chuck, and hope that eventually one falls. And you know what? Derek White almost won them the game. With his toughness, rebounding the ball, and then also that three-pointer that he did make later on in that game. But that was just a terrifying, and I mean a terrifying approach by the Boston Celtics. So that was a good appetizer, right? And everyone probably thought when they were watching, that was going to be the filet mignon of the night. And let me tell you, I stayed up late last night. I thought, all right, I'd watch the Knicks. I'd go to bed, coming back from Vegas, and then I forgot, I'm still working 3 hours behind in my internal clock. And also, even though I was really tired, the euphoria after the Knicks game, I think it gave me like a little shot of espresso, pretty much, is how I would describe it. So I was up for longer than I anticipated, and then I watched the entirety of that Denver Nuggets game up against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And if you thought the Celtics approach was bad, just shooting 3 after 3 after 3 after 3, what was Mark Daigneault doing in the last minute and a half of that basketball game? You had a big lead. We know how great the Thunder have been. There has not really been a moment where people have been able to grab onto something tangibly that's been like, that's where the inexperience of this team has screwed them. And I'm okay with fouling up 3, right? Because to be fair, how many times do we sit here and bitch when a coach doesn't do it? But you can't do it with an eternity. What am I trying to say? Of the play clock that's left available. Samter, you're occasionally smart. What was the word that I was looking for there? Give me the word that I was looking for there.
In perpetuity?
No! There was an eternity on the play clock. Right? Is that the word? No?
Eternity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. So I said it correctly.
Yeah, eternity.
I don't know why. It sounded like I said that word wrong. But there was, you know what? Let's just do this. We'll go back to the Sandlot. There was forever left on that play clock, on that game clock. It was crazy. And at one point, Nikola Jokic wasn't even in the game. And you foul, and then he gets back in the game. And how many no, yes moments were there in that game, too? On both sides. Now, Chet Holmgren has to make those free throws. He misses both of them. But that opened up the door, and then you have Russell Westbrook dribbling, and it's like, no. And then you're down 1, and you find Aaron Gordon in the corner, and bang, he hits the 3. And then on the other end, what was like a 50-footer or whatever, it was no good. So that's how game 1 ended. And I'll tell you this. I know everyone's going to sit here and talk about Aaron Gordon this, Aaron Gordon that, because the 3 was awesome. It's almost weird just how we've all accepted these video game stat lines from Nikola Jokic, where it's almost as if we don't even appreciate them anymore because we're not sitting here saying, wow. It's whenever you hear something new that Nikola Jokic does, it's like, oh yeah, give me another day that ends in Y. Seriously. Last night he had 42 points, 22 rebounds, and 6 assists. He became the 4th player in NBA postseason history. Only 4 players on this list, he's one of them, to record at least 40 points, 20 rebounds, and 5 assists in a game. And you know what? The most impressive part isn't even the stat line. It's when he's not on the court, it's when he's on the bench, and how vocal Nikola Jokic has come. And the leadership role that Nikola Jokic has taken on since the firing of Mike Malone. Not only do the Denver Nuggets have a 3-time NBA MVP, not only do the Denver Nuggets, I'm going to say it, have one of the best players I've ever seen play basketball. Like, that's how great, that's how elite, that's how sensational, that's how awesome it has been to watch Nikola Jokic. But they also have a guy that is turning into an elite head coach right in front of our eyes. And think about this. Imagine if the Denver Nuggets end up winning 3 more games and beating the Oklahoma City Thunder. Imagine then if they're able to take care of business and then defeat either Golden State or Minnesota and go to the NBA Finals. This was a team 3 games before the season ended in the regular season. They fired their championship-winning head coach. And nothing against Adelman, right? But Nikola Jokic looks like he's coaching that team. And it's wild, this run that they've been on. Because I thought there was a legitimate chance with how that season ended that they would be quickly in and quickly out of the playoffs and be done in the first round. Now, after winning game 1 and stealing that game from the Oklahoma City Thunder, I think we're all looking at Nikola Jokic today and saying, I'm not ruling that guy out of anything. I'm not counting him out of anything. If you tell me he wins a second NBA championship this year, even with the problems, even with the flaws of the way that this roster was assembled, it would not shock me at any degree. Because that's how great, that is the all-time greatness that you're seeing right now. And I love what I'm seeing from Nikola Jokic on the court, but I even love it more what I'm seeing with the vocal leadership role that he's taken. So I would actually say this. Nikola Jokic could actually benefit the most from any player in the postseason if he wins another championship. Because we already know he has 3 NBA MVPs. We already know he's a championship. We already know he has a finals MVP. But if he gets this one, it's almost like it's worth double. Because it adds to his player's legacy, but how he willed this team basically as a coach as well. That would take him, he's already a top 15 player of all time, top 20 player of all time, I would say. Like right now, I'd rather be Nikola Jokic over Kevin Durant just for starters, if you ask me. But if he wins another championship this year, the national respect of Nikola Jokic is going to just go through the roof for the best player in the NBA. Stu, give me a player, if I take Nikola Jokic out of it, that would benefit the most if he ends up winning a championship this year.
I think it's Anthony Edwards. I think the fact that you would get the Western Conference Finals appearance and then an NBA championship the next year.
Yeah.
As he's really, Julius Randle's a good player. There's other good players on that team, but he's really the alpha on that team. He would be leading them all the way to a championship. At his age, I just think he has so much to gain if they win it all.
And you factor in his personality that he would be the unquestioned face of the league. Like, I wouldn't even say the future face of the league anymore. I would then call him the face of the league for the NBA. Samter, who's a player, if Joker and Anthony Edwards are off the board, that would benefit the most from winning a championship?
I mean, there's so many young guys who won championship would kind of bring them to another stratosphere. But I'm looking at a guy who already has 4. That's Steph Curry. If he wins another one, if he wins his 5th, we're starting to put him in that conversation into the top 5, top 6 all-time. Into the all-time GOATs. Like, I think MJ, LeBron, Kareem have kind of solidified the top 3 spots. Everything after that is still up for grabs, and Steph Curry with another title or 2 could start getting into that conversation with Magic, with Bird, with Russell, with Wilt. And so, honestly, I think Steph Curry with another title with a 5th, I think we start getting into that conversation.
Honestly, I think it would even boost him up a little bit more than some of the players that you're saying. Now, Magic and... You said Magic and Russell?
Magic, Russell, Wilt, and Bird.
I think it would put him past Wilt and Bird. If I'm being honest. The Magic one then becomes fascinating. It does. Now, Magic played 1 through 5. We'd maybe have to get Magic back on the show and have to re-ask him that question and see if his answer would be a little bit different. But seriously, I think you're then starting to put Steph Curry in that, top 6, top 7 conversation if he gets another championship. Because then it's, okay, you won one before KD. You won 2 during KD. He's already won one after KD. If he wins another one after KD, oh my, that's just flat out stupid. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network, where sometimes I am just flat out stupid. If you just heard me try to say eternity for, I don't know, the beginning of that show. That was terrible. That was just brutal. That's me still... Half my body, I think, still left in Las Vegas. That's what I think was happening there. There's going to be some brain farts this week, folks. But you'll still love me for it. All righty, this is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. When we come on back, Tyreek Hill. Remember the energy and the love that he had for Tua Tagovailoa when he first joined the Miami Dolphins? I think that ship has sailed away. I think that love is going, and it's gone. I'll tell you why when we come on back next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
Say it with me, Stu. Eternity. Can you say that?
Eternity.
Cool. You do sound like the guy, by the way, when I go, how do you pronounce this word? And it goes, eternity. Say that again, Stu.
Eternity.
Yeah, you do sound like that guy.
Do I really?
That's crazy. Get the heck out of here, Stu. We could make you a lot more money. We'll just have you go on all these applications and everything. It's a very soothing voice. Santer, say the word for me one more time.
Eternity.
That sounds like we could do a late night show with that voice.
Eternity.
Instead of me saying earlier in the show, Mark Dagnall had an eternity. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right. And I go, how am I saying that word wrong? And I had to emphasize the E a little bit, not eternity, eternity. So there we go. There was an eternity left on the play clock or the shot clock. I can't get that right either. Play clock. It's not shot clock. It's the game clock. Man, My brain is fried today. But welcome back in. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. And what a wild night in the NBA. Oklahoma City lost the game that they should have won and probably would have won 9.9 times out of 10. And now all the pressure shifts on them for the first time really in this postseason to see if they could find a way to grab game 2. If not, you go back to Denver and you're down 0-2. And the Boston Celtics, I feel like there's a belief they'll win game 2, but the Knicks won a game that probably they should not have won. And Boston missed 45 three-pointers, and it's not like the Knicks were on fire either. Their defense was great, but it wasn't as if they were awesome offensively. So if the Knicks get heat up on offense in game 2, and maybe this gets Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges really going for what they were able to do in the extra session to get that victory, maybe the Knicks find a way to surprise people and go back to Madison Square Garden, what would be a crazy scene. It's already be crazy on Saturday. But imagine if you go Saturday to Madison Square Garden and you have the Knicks up 2-0. That would be bonkers. So it was a good first punch by the Knicks, a good first punch, even though they were both late, by the Denver Nuggets. And now we're going to see how the Oklahoma City Thunder and also the Boston Celtics are going to counter. So when Tyreek Hill first got to the Miami Dolphins, as we'll just transition to that real quickly. Ryan Hollins, by the way, going to join us at 4:40 p.m. Eastern time today. So in an hour and 10 minutes from now. When Tyreek Hill first got to Miami, he went out of his way to really just have an effusive amount of praise of one Tua Tagovailoa, which even though he was saying the accuracy of Tua is better than Mahomes, like it was ridiculous to say that anything that Tua does is better than what Patrick Mahomes does. But I appreciated where it was coming from because that's now your guy, that's now your quarterback. And let's be real. In the end of the Brian Flores era in Miami, Tua didn't feel appreciated. And Mike McDaniel got there, and he basically threw his arms around Tua Tagovailoa, and Tyreek Hill did follow. So Tyreek Hill has been the biggest backer besides Mike McDaniel of Tua Tagovailoa. But maybe you're starting to see that change. Because I'll just take you back to last summer. Tyreek Hill was asked, who are the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL? And at the time he said, Tua Tagovailoa, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, and then also Baker Mayfield. This was just in the summer. And now he was asked this question the other day. And you know what? I appreciate, even though Tyreek Hill is just a terrible human being. All right, there is enough out there with Tyreek Hill. I can't defend this guy whatsoever. I couldn't stand this guy years ago, and it hasn't gotten any better, honestly, when you read the things that you read about him. But I guess Tyreek Hill was doing one of these live streams and trying to interact with his fans, and I guess trying to clean up his image, which has just been in a terrible spot. And Tyreek Hill was asked, hey, who are your top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL in order entering this season? And these were the 5 names that Tyreek Hill gave. And you'll notice a big omission on one.
Said, could I rank my top 5 quarterbacks? Lamar, Josh, Pat, obviously. No, this is no order, by the way. Baker Mayfield. And Joe Shiesty, too.
Okay. I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say that Tyreek Hill, right, probably actually believes that Tua Tagovailoa is a top 5 quarterback. I didn't believe it when he said it last time. But when he's your quarterback and you've already said it in the past, shouldn't you probably say he's a top 5 quarterback? And it's not as if, you just give Tyreek Hill the benefit of the doubt, because if you keep on giving Tyreek Hill the benefit of the doubt, and there's a lot more serious things that people give Tyreek Hill the benefit of the doubt for, which I still don't understand, then at this point, you're just a moron. All right? That's just the reality of the situation. So, Tyreek Hill says this, and also remember how last season ended when he basically requested a trade and then walked it back and did one of those PR tours. Oh, I didn't mean it, blah, blah, blah. I acted immaturely. I was just emotional at the Super Bowl. And now he's sitting there and he's throwing just more fuel on the fire. Where it's, I'm no longer going to say Tua Tagovailoa is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL when you have been one of his biggest backers since getting to Miami. I think there's something there. Now, I don't have a problem with this list. I wouldn't say Baker Mayfield's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, but he's at least been consistent with it. He said it last year. He said it this year. So why didn't you say Tua Tagovailoa if you said it last year and you're not saying it this year? It's because maybe you're frustrated with your quarterback. And I don't think Tua is a top 5 quarterback. Lamar has to be on that list. Josh Allen has to be on that list. Patrick Mahomes has to be on that list. Joe Burrow has to be on that list. Quite frankly, I would put Jalen Hurts in before I would put Baker Mayfield. But Tua used to get so much love from Tyreek. Now Tyreek is throwing that love to Baker Mayfield, and he's thrown that love before, and now he's still throwing that love for Baker Mayfield, but he's not throwing that love back to Tua Tagovailoa. Is this a big deal? Like, I'll just ask that. Or is this something that I'm making it into a big deal? But I look at this, and it's really nothing about Tua, in my opinion. It's just Tyreek Hill is not afraid to wear his emotions on his sleeves. And what he said at the end of the season, to me, I thought that was the beginning of the end of his time in Miami. And somehow he was partially able to put some of the toothpaste back in the tube, even though it was already out. But this is one of those days where you woke up and you hit that toothpaste tube too hard, and there's a lot of toothpaste now on your counter. And it's how many times can Tyreek Hill keep on putting the toothpaste back in the tube before a lot of us just say, this dude isn't happy with this current situation with the Miami Dolphins. And you know what I would say to Tyreek if you're sitting right next to me? Tough luck. You had it made. You were in Kansas City with Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, and you let your ego get in the way, and you ended up going to the Miami Dolphins, and you probably miss winning. Well, you were at the place where they know winning best for this next NFL dynasty in Kansas City with the best quarterback in the league, one of the greatest tight ends of all time, and one of the greatest coaches of all time, and you left that. That was stupid. So, no, I don't feel bad for you. I'll never feel bad for Tyreek Hill regardless. But I won't feel bad for you because now you miss Kansas City and you miss winning, and you know you're in an organization that winning to them is just making the playoffs, not actually doing anything of significance in the postseason. So, Stu, do you find this a big deal that Tyreek Hill left Tua Tagovailoa off this list?
So if he didn't include him on the list in the summer, I would say not a big deal. But the fact that he did and now he's off that list while still including Baker Mayfield, I don't know. It's kind of like you said. It just sounds like someone that's like disgruntled or trying to make a headline to make it clear that he's not happy.
It's almost like you're subtweeting, where you're saying something, and I had a subtweet today.
You did.
Yeah. A few people have been posting these videos celebrating their team's win, and they're of like zero substance. There's no genuine, authentic reaction. It's just, let's go. And I'm watching these videos one after another today, and I go, can you be a little creative? Can you actually make it a genuine reaction, not just performing for the cameras? So I subtweeted about it. I didn't name the people, but this is basically Tyreek Hill subtweeting where, yeah, I'm not going to specifically say that I'm upset with Tua, and I'm not going to say I'm specifically upset in this instance with the Miami Dolphins, but I'll just throw out a list and not put the Dolphins or not put Tua Tagovailoa on there, and it makes you say, is there maybe something more there? Without directly saying it, even though he basically already directly said it at the end of the season and then walked it back. Samter, is this a big deal?
Here's the thing. I think who he put in that 5th spot is what makes it a big deal. Right? Obviously, you talk about the top 4 in Allen, Mahomes, Burrow, and Lamar.
No, he said Burrow last. Now, this wasn't in order.
Right. But I think, we consider, that's the 4.
Sure.
It's the 5th that we kind of have this discussion about right now, right? And Jalen Hurts is probably there now because he won the Super Bowl. I don't think there's many people on this planet. I love Baker. There's not a lot of people on this planet saying Baker is the 5th best quarterback in the NFL.
No, he's top 10. He's probably like in that 8 to 10 range.
Right.
Maybe at best 7.
Right. Not a lot, if anybody, is going to put him top 5. So the fact that he put Baker there.
Yeah.
And not
Tua.
a guy like Jalen Hurts or not a guy like, I don't know,
Jaden Daniels. Even C.J. Stroud with the first 2 years that he's
100%.
done.
The fact that he put Baker there, and because you can have a conversation of Baker versus Tua. You can have that conversation.
And by the way, to be clear, I take Baker all day.
Me too.
And twice on Sundays.
But when Tua's healthy, you can at least have that conversation.
Yeah, sure.
The fact that he put Baker there, then I think you can put Tua there. I think that's kind of a shot.
Oh, it's 1,000% a shot.
I think the fact that he put but if he said Jalen Hurts, I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah. Fair, because at least he's giving you an honest list. But when you had this guy on your list last year with Baker, you had Tua and Baker on the list last year, and now this year you don't have Tua, and you do have Baker, and too bad that this isn't an interview, because then the normal follow-up would be, oh, why not Tua Tagovailoa? And then you could just see the reaction. Sometimes you put these guys on the spot with these top 5 lists. Heck, we've done it twice now with Micah Parsons, and he hasn't been able to give us a 5th name for the top 5 pure pass rushers in the NFL. And even Tyreek there was like, oh yeah, Joe Burrow. Joe Shiesty, I think he called him. So sometimes you just forget. But I don't think that, I'm not naive enough. And I don't give Tyreek Hill the benefit of the doubt to think, oh yeah, he just forgot his quarterback into a Tagovailoa. It'd be like if someone asked me, who are the top 5 best radio producers? And I sit there and I go, Baba Booey, Al Dukes. I'm just like going through the list, and then I got 3 more names, and then I didn't say Stu or I didn't say Samter. Like, those are my guys. I'm looking directly at them when I answer that question. It would create people to say, hey, is that Zach taking a shot at his guys?
Now, here's the thing. If you had named 5 award-winning producers who are in the Radio Hall of Fame, nobody would knock you. But if you name 4 guys and then threw out like James Boccioni or like Anthony Pierno.
For all the good work that Botch did and how he did so and took a lot of crap, I don't think you need to go after James Boccioni. He's a very nice guy.
Sure. But, that's kind of a conversation where, like, if you're looking right at us... At least give him credit.
He just left.
There it is. If you're looking right at us and you say Ryan Hickey, or you look right at us and you say,
Elijah Stewart and...
EJ, or, Bellotti, Shep.
Yeah, Bellotti.
Then we have an issue.
Okay. You know what? Carlos Ortiz. Yeah, I'll give you my top 5 radio producers right now. EJ, Carlos Ortiz... Tom DiBenedetto, Ryan Hickey, and Pete Bellotti. Feel good about that? Feeling nicey?
You better get the gloves ready. Ding, ding, ding.
Get the step stool ready if you're going to punch me in my face.
I'll take you down from the shins.
Oh, that wouldn't be nice. That wouldn't be nice. How many Samters would it take? 100 Samters versus 1 Gelb. Who wins? Alrighty, let's get the latest update in with Dak.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
And it's sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. Sovereignty will not go for the Triple Crown. The Kentucky Derby winner is skipping the Preakness and now training toward the Belmont Stakes next month in Saratoga. Florida has rewarded head coach Todd Golden with a 6-year extension that over $40 million puts him among the highest paid coaches in the sport. The Pacers are once again proving to be a tough team in the playoffs after taking out the Bucks. They rode a strong start to beat the Cavaliers on their home floor in Game 1 of the second round and will meet again tonight. The Indiana guards, a big part of Game 1. Andrew Nembhard slowed Donovan Mitchell and was hot on the other end, 5 of 6 from three-point range. And head coach Rick Carlisle disputed the notion that Tyrese Halliburton is overrated, and after a 22-point, 13-assist performance, said the All-Star just keeps getting better.
He's elevated his game on both sides of the ball, and it's absolutely needed. He's picking up full court. He's defending, one-on-one in switch situations, and offensively, he's the guy with the ball.
And Game 1 tonight between the Wolves and Warriors in Minnesota. I'm Rich Allen. You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
The Defensive Player of the Week is sponsored by the Navy Federal Credit Union, who proudly is celebrating all who go above and beyond during Military Appreciation Month. Learn more at NavyFederal.org/celebrate. Our members are the mission. This week's player is Knicks forward Mikal Bridges. In last night's 108-105 overtime win over the Boston Celtics, Bridges had 3 steals, 2 blocks, and several key defensive stops when it mattered the most. By the way, I want to get your ruling on this, because I think sometimes people try too hard on social media. Now, don't get me wrong. My subtweet was not about Manny Rodriguez. Because, right, Manny works here. If I'm going to go after Manny, I'll just say his name on the air. And I talked to Manny earlier today. I saw he was at the Yankees game last night.
He was.
And I called him and I said, hey, I need a little weather report. I saw you were just wearing a sweatshirt at the game. I'm going to the Yankees game tonight. But it's in that bizarre time where it could get a little bit windy, but it's 55 to 60 degrees. So once it gets in that range, I don't think I need a jacket. So I said, oh, can I just do a T-shirt and a sweatshirt? And Manny said, yeah, that's what I did last night at the game. And it was a little bit colder, I think, yesterday than it was tonight. I'm going to see the Yankees play the Padres. So he goes, just a sweatshirt. I go, thanks, Manny. He probably thought I was calling him to just accost him over his hellacious social media video that he put out last night. And it's not even the video. He's screaming, going nuts. The fact that the Knicks won, Manny is an enormous Knicks fan. But it's a bad look, in my opinion. And I don't really want to tell people how to live their life. But you're at a regular season baseball game, and the Knicks are in the playoffs. If you're that huge, enormous Knicks fan, and right, Manny and EJ with our morning show, they take so much pride. They talk about the Knicks in November when nobody gives a rat's ass and they're celebrating these irrelevant regular season game victories. I don't know, Stu. That's kind of tough. Opening round or second round, first game, you're up against Boston to be at a Yankee Padre game. Right? Isn't that a bad look?
It's not great. I guess in his defense, he was saying he had these tickets for a pretty long time, but
sell them.
Yeah.
Come on, it's
Sell
Yankees.
them for today's
Padres.
game. Yeah.
It's sell them.
Yeah, I agree.
So he's sitting there he's at because it's a rain delay. So he's at the bar watching the Knicks game, and then he's screaming first off, if Manny's in my section, I'm at a baseball game, and he's screaming, let's go Knicks, yeah! I'm texting that private number on security to boot this guy from the stadium, if I'm being honest. Santa, do you have any problem about that? Yeah, big Knicks fan. He claims to be this enormous fan, and I know Manny is nuts. There are some people that work here, right? I'm passionate about sports. But there's other people that their passion goes to a level where it gets to them just being delirious fans. Where as if someone overtakes their body and is then controlling their brain to just do stupid things and act in stupid ways. Manny is one of those people, if I'm being honest. And also, Manny better have been up today. If he's sleeping after being out late at the Yankees game, probably partying and drinking a lot with the whole Knicks situation, come on, Manny, you better be alert. Your boy today is here. I've been here the last 2 days. After a red eye coming back from Vegas, I showed up. Now, I don't know if I'm doing a good show or not. I may be saying some stupid things. But, geez, you better not be sleeping like Manny Rodriguez fell asleep during a shift last week. Do you have any problem, Samter, with Manny being at the Yankee game last night when he claims to be a big Knicks fan and then is putting out content screaming about the Knicks at Yankee Stadium? Any problems with that?
No, it's game 1 of round 2
it's
in
the
Boston.
Playoffs.
I get it. But you can you can watch it. You can watch the game on your phone.
Playoffs.
You can go to a bar afterwards. I don't have a huge issue with it. If it was game 6 or 7,
Playoffs.
different story. But whatever. You're allowed to be a fan of multiple teams, and you're allowed to go.
If you're at a wedding, if you're at an engagement party, something. All right, it happens. It's life. A Yankees regular season game, and you claim to be this big Knicks fan. I'm sorry, that can't happen. That can't happen. It's May baseball. We're talking postseason here, basketball. It's a bad job by Manny. Really, really bad job by Manny. Anything further to add here, Santa?
I mean, I disagree, but that's okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I heard you clicking away there. I thought you were looking something up. Anyway, I did read yesterday that Brian Schottenheimer, since we are a national radio program and we haven't mentioned the Cowboys in a while, I guess we'll do that here. He moved the lockers of Dak Prescott and Micah Parsons. So I guess that's okay. Those are the unquestioned leaders of the Dallas Cowboys, or maybe that's Brian Schottenheimer saying, we're moving your lockers together. Go, you guys are the leaders. Go lead this team. I don't know where he's going to lead them to. But Stu, give me these first-year coaches, and I'll tell you what I want to see out of these first-year coaches as we have a bunch taking over new situations.
All right, let's start with Shotty and the Cowboys.
I want to see him lead that team to being over 500, And even though I don't love their offseason moves, like, go win 9-10 games this year. That's what I would say for Schottenheimer in year one, and prove a lot of people wrong.
All right, what about Kellen Moore with the Saints?
Show some accountability and show me a little offensive identity, because I don't know what the Saints are doing right now, because they had a roster. Obviously, it was good for a long time. You lost your quarterback in Drew Brees, who's now been retired for years. And I don't feel like the Saints have any direction. So even if they're a bad football team, at least be a gritty football team where it's weird to say it's a participation trophy, but that's what I'm basically saying here, where I can at least be like proud of the Saints through 3/4 of a game, even if their talent pops up and hurts them in the fourth.
All right, what about Ben Johnson, first year as the coach of the Bears?
Playoffs and Caleb Williams looking like a star. That's what I need to say.
All right, what about Jacksonville and Mr.
Oh, little sounder. I like it. I would say it's making Trevor Lawrence looking like a respectable quarterback again and challenging, not dethroning, but challenging the Houston Texans. That's what I would say.
All right, what about Aaron Glenn with the Jets?
Getting an answer on Justin Fields. I want to know at the end of this, they beefed up the offensive line with the first-round pick, Armin Membu. They're now young across the offensive line. You still got Garrett Wilson. You got Breece Hall. I would have liked them to have drafted Tyler Warren, but I want to get an answer. I want Aaron Glenn, who's the defensive-minded coach, to get an answer out of his new quarterback in Justin Fields, if he's the guy or not.
All right, what about someone who has been a head coach before? It is Vrabel with your Patriots now.
I want to see the lowest amount of wins I would accept from the Patriots this year is 8. That's the lowest. Like 8 and 9. Give me 8 and 9. Give me 9 and 8. They were so lost last year without Gerard Mayo, or with Gerard Mayo. Now you get Mike Vrabel, who should have been the first-year head coach of the Patriots last year. I think their defense is going to be good as long as Barmore's healthy. Keon White will probably get better. You made some big offseason acquisitions as well. And then on the offensive side of the ball, they better protect Drake May. He took way too many hits last year. And I think the Pats did enough this offseason where they could be a team that I actually enjoy watching them on Sundays again, because I know everyone feels bad for me the last 3 years or so. Ooh, it's been a sloppy product. I miss winning championships.
Well, it's been 3 bad years for you. It's been like 25 for me. What about Pete Carroll with my Raiders?
Yeah, we're very similar. We're like the Spider-Man pointing picture. Stu, I can't, like, they're going to be the 4th team in that division, right? Like, is there any way that they could be the 3rd team in that division?
Probably not. I think they'll be the competitive 4th team, though. Like 7 or 8 wins, but not
Smash
playoffs.
mouth football. That's what I want to see. You got Ashton Genty. You got Brock Bowers. Smash mouth football. And that defense with Crosby, hopefully Wilkins back healthy. Just 7 wins? Is that crazy? Run the football, play good defense. Geno Smith, don't be a turnover machine. Maybe 7 and 10 at best for the Raiders. Man, those are some low expectations all around the board. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. When we come on back, I saw Joel Klatt's top 25 after spring football and the second transfer portal window that opened up. Who's the team in college football with the most pressure? We'll ask next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
We'll have a photo up in a bit on social media. At Zach Gelb, Twitter and Instagram. I was joking earlier off of, what was it? 100 people versus one gorilla. Who would win? That was like a bit going back to last week. That was a big question. I think that has died down since then. I don't think that's as much as a trend as it was a week ago. But now we're asking, who would win? One Zach Gelb, that's me, your boy, or 100 little Mike Santers? That's what we're very curious about. Or actually, let me get his Twitter name out there correctly. Big Mike CBS, right? Is that still your Twitter name these days, Big Mike CBS?
It is. I'm just too lazy to change it.
So the CBS was actually for CBS Sports Radio, right?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So it was. You're a jackass. Oh, my God. You remember that, Stu, right? Because one day I go, oh, Samter, you have to change your name when we did the network name change from CBS Sports Radio to Infinity Sports Network. And he goes, the CBS doesn't stand for CBS Sports Radio. So I made a joke like, what, can't be small or something like that? And then you go, nope, that's not what it stands for either. And we were trying to guess what the CBS stood for. And I just thought for sure it was for CBS Sports Radio, but you were just so adamant and defiant that it wasn't. And I've been thinking, oh, that's weird. Like maybe it's something going back from his days in Arizona or something. Because you said it was something that has carried with you for a long time. And you're pretty much an open book, Samter. You don't really hide much. So I just thought for sure that it was something you didn't want to admit. But you are one son of a bitch, let me tell you. The fact that that was always for actually CBS. That played a lot of mind games for me. That was not nice of you. Very rude of you. You slipped up there, buddy. It was kind of like that time, was it Braden Fisk? I think it was when he was in studio with us. And that's when Samter's like, I'm the biggest Chiefs fan. And Samter walks up to him as I'm sitting right in front of him and goes, I hope you get on my football team. I hope you get on my Jets. And I look at him, I go, you're who? I go, I thought you were a Chiefs fan. And he goes, oh, no, sorry, I mean the Kansas City Chiefs. Right in front of Braden Fisk, who's now a phenomenal defensive player in the NFL. Oh, he had an awesome rookie season with the LA Rams. All righty, anyway. Big Mike, CBS. Oh, Stu, does that annoy you? Or did you always just think it's for CBS Sports Radio?
I kind of
just
figured
it
was CBS Sports Radio related.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. But you remember that day where he just totally denied it.
Yes.
All righty. Anyway, Joe Clack came out with his college football post-spring top 25. I'll give you the entirety of the top 25 right now. Oklahoma in at 25, Baylor at 24, Iowa in at 23, Auburn 22, Indiana 21, Ole Miss 20, A&M 19, Miami now with Carson Beck in at 18, Iowa State in at 17, Kansas State at 16, Arizona State, Samter Sun Devils in at 15, BYU with Kalani Sitake at 14, DJ Lagway and Billy Napier with Florida at 13. Hopefully you'll see Bryce Underwood week 1. You won't see Sherrone Moore in weeks 3 and 4 after the suspension, but you'll see him weeks 1 and 2. Michigan in at 12. South Carolina with Lenore Sellers and Shane Beamer in at 11th. Illinois. Bielema has done a really good job there. He's a good football coach in at 10. Kalen DeBoer in Alabama in at 9. How about this? Kirby Smart and Georgia. They're not 1. They're not 2. They're not 3. They're not 4. They're not 5. They're not 6. They're not 7. If you've been listening to what I've been saying for the last minute, you would then know what's next up. That's 8. The Georgia Bulldogs, Gunnar Stockton, expect to be their quarterback. They are now in at 8. Brian Kelly with his LSU family in at number 7. Jeremiah Love, who has a chance to win the Heisman this year, is in at 6. And it looks like that kid, I would imagine it's going to be Carr is going to end up being the quarterback at Notre Dame. That's who I would like to see. Does that give you any PTSD, Stu? Because that's your football team, the Raiders all that year with Carr, and now you have another Carr, even though they're not related, right?
They're not. This one is related to Lloyd Carr. Lloyd Carr, the former Michigan coach's grandfather. Yeah. So that's Notre Dame in at 6 with Marcus Freeman. How about Clemson with Dabo Swinney? I can't stand Dabo. I think the last few years he's been insufferable, arrogant, and stubborn. I got big expectations for Dabo Swinney and Clemson this year. They're in at 5. Dan Lanning won the Big Ten last year, but then was eliminated quickly in the college football playoff after getting smashed by Ohio State. The Ducks are in at 4. The Buckeyes in at 3. Jeremiah Smith, now you're number 2. Texas Longhorns with Arch Manning in at number 2. As you have Ohio State 3, Texas in at 2. And then in at number 1. Uh-oh. Oh, no. You know who's in at number 1? Hickey's going to be already popping the champagne and raising the banner because no one likes to celebrate an offseason more than Ryan Hot Take Hickey, and he hypes himself up each and every year for the Penn State Nittany Lions to just get let down in the biggest moments. And I told him last year I thought Penn State was going to be the 3rd best team in the Big Ten. I was actually more optimistic than normal with Penn State, but Penn State right now is the number 1 team in the country, according to maybe the most recognizable college football analyst in the game right now, in Joel Klatt. Penn State in at 1 with Drew Aller, James Franklin, returning their running backs as well.
There's big expectations for Penn State, even after losing Abdul Carter and Tyler Warren, with Abdul Carter going to the Giants and then Tyler Warren going to the Indianapolis Colts. By the way, Abdul Carter, my guy. Now, I've been sitting here and saying that he's the preeminent player in the draft, and he ended up going number 3 to the New York Giants. You may recall, because we talk about it a lot, or I talk about it a lot, Warren Sapp walking off this show when I sat there and I said he was listed as best players in the draft, and he said Travis Hunter's 1, Shedeur Sanders 2, and then Cam Ward's 3. And I said, oh, what about Abdul Carter? And he was like, oh, when was the last time Penn State's had a good pass rusher? And I said, oh, well, this guy Micah Parsons. And he goes, what pass rushing does he do? And I said, hey, he's about a 15-sack a year guy. And he goes, you better check that. And then he walked off the set with us. Didn't even shake my hand, which is not all that surprising because Warren Sapp is not the greatest human being in the world, so he's not the most polite human being in the world. Usually, if you're going to storm off set like a little baby, at least shake somebody's hand. Be a man, Warren Sapp. But anyway, Abdul Carter last night, now a member of the New York Giants, he's tweeting out and saying, hey, I think I'm going to become a Knicks fan. That was such an exciting game. So I quickly just Googled retired numbers for the New York Knicks. And I said, hey, just in case if you're wondering about a Knicks number. And Abdul Carter instantly got back, and he thought it was hilarious. So Abdul Carter, not a friend of the show, because you got to be on this show 3 times as a guest if you want to be a friend of the show. Or personally text me about things that happen on the show, even if you're not a guest. That's the 2 criteria. Abdul Carter found that to be very entertaining last night. And I think now we should come on the show. But I don't know about you, Samter. This is what I think. I sent this back to Abdul Carter. Now, he didn't respond to this one. I sent him the Warren Sapp video. And I said, you can't find the number with the New York Giants. You wanted 11, Phil Simms, right? Retired. You wanted 56 for LT, Lawrence Taylor, retired. I think there's like a punter or a kicker. Oh, no, it was a 4th-string defensive end or something like that. That has 99 for the Giants. Like, he could get that number. But if I'm Abdul Carter, I take a little motivation. Oh, Warren Sapp is basically going to crap on me. I'll go wear his number 99, and that will be a little internal motivation each and every day. I think that's a good suggestion. For Abdul, you can't get 56. You can't get 11. I think you pay a little homage to the Zach Gelb show and Warren Sapp going after you. And trust me, the views of Warren Sapp do not reflect the views of Zach Gelb and the Zach Gelb show on the Infinity Sports Network, because I think you're the best player in the draft. Abdul Carter, basically go tell Warren Sapp to shut the bleep up, wear 99, and make that number 99 great. All right? And go get it retired by the New York Football Giants for a legendary career that you're about to have. I think I'm onto something right there. I would wear 99, Samter, if I'm Abdul Carter. It has nothing to do with the fact, well, it has everything to do with the fact that there was a moment with Abdul Carter and Warren Sapp right on this show.
I think it's a brilliant idea. The only problem is 99 feels like it's for like the fat guys, right? That feels like for the down linemen.
Is J.J. Watt fat? I wouldn't say. He's a Hulk.
But he's a Hulk. I feel like Abdul Carter's got more of like a slender look. 11 looks good on him.
Yeah.
99 might not fit that.
99's an alpha number, though. I understand what you're saying. Like, I wanted to get 99 in high school. I had some weird numbers because on the offense line and defensive line. So, like, one year I was in the 60s and the 70s. But then when I was playing on more defensive line, I was able to get 98, but I really wanted 99. And then some kid that was just fatter than me ended up getting 99. To your point, Samter. But I think 99 now is an alpha number. I think you're right. Back in the day, it's more like for a fatso and a fat slob like Warren Sapp. That wasn't nice. But anyway, Abdul Carter, I think he could rock 99. And let's be real. You wanted 11, you couldn't get it. You wanted 56, you couldn't get it. So if you couldn't get your first 2 choices, then you got to maybe do something that's a little bit out of character for you. And you go with the number 99. Anyway, college football teams, though, under the most pressure this year. I'm going right at the top of Joe Klatt's list. Joe Klatt's going to say Penn State's the number 1 team in the country. James Franklin hasn't won a big game in forever. And don't tell me, oh, he had an opening round playoff victory. I think it was against SMU and then Boise State. Come on. But when he had a game that they should have won up against Notre Dame, and it wasn't even his fault. That was the one year I wasn't even able to slam James Franklin after his team lost the game that they should have won because it was on the quarterback in Drew Aller. But the Penn State fan keeps on telling you how great their program used to be, how great their program will continue to be, and how awesome Drew Aller is. No excuses for James Franklin and Drew Aller this year. I could even argue that there's maybe more pressure on Drew Aller than there is James Franklin this year. But this is the last go at it for Drew Aller. There's a lot on the line, and there's a lot on the line for James Franklin too. And if you're going to be ranked number one right now, well, you better be number one at the end of the year, especially when it feels as if college football is as open as it's been in quite some time. Like Georgia may be a little bit off this year. Alabama is still going to be very good, but they're not Alabama under Nick Saban. Ohio State just won a championship. Oregon, very good program, but can they take the next step? Just kind of like Penn State, very good program. Can they take the next step? I'm going to say that the team under the most pressure this year in college football are going to be the Penn State Nittany Lions. Santa, who's your team?
For me, I think it's got to be Texas and Sark. 2 straight playoff appearances, but 2 straight failures in a sense. And then, now you've got Arch, right? It was Quinn Ewers. Now you've got the golden boy. You've got the golden arm with the golden name. So I think Arch has got to be the guy. So for me, Sark, Texas, SEC, they prove they belong, but they also kind of just need to take that next step.
Yeah, I look at Texas this year. I don't think there's a more fascinating person in college football this year than Arch Manning, because of the fact we've been told how great he's going to be. And you got a little glimpse of him last year running the football, and he's a lot more mobile than you would think a Manning would be. One run at Texas is more running than maybe Peyton Manning and Eli Manning have done in their entire career. But now he's supposed to be the guy as long as he's healthy. You get to see him for a full season. And after such a buildup, even going back to when he's in high school, this is Texas's real chance to say that they're back. Not like, oh, we're back. And they've been back the last 2 years. Give them credit. What Quinn Ewers did, the playoffs, winning the Big 12, going to an SEC championship game, and you're number one, even though they did end up losing to Georgia. But now it's okay. You could take this to a different level, different stratosphere, if Arch Manning is as great as what people think. And also, they're paying a lot of money on that Texas roster. So you're basically buying yourself, which is fine, a chance to go win a championship. Now you got to be able to get the cash from that check. It's one thing to put the check into the machine. If no cash comes out because no funds actually there, then that's a problem. You got to get the benefits of your investment. Stu, who's the team in college football this year under the most pressure?
So mine is the 9th team on that list, and that is Alabama and Kalen DeBoer in year number 2. Obviously, year 1 was a bit of a disappointment, losing 4 games, not making the playoffs. I don't think they're a title contender like the 2 teams that you guys mentioned are, but I think they need to make the playoffs and need to be competitive in that top 5 to 10 this year.
Yeah, they need to make the playoffs. If you start off the Kalen DeBoer era, and I'm a huge believer in Kalen DeBoer, and you miss the playoffs your first 2 years, that's going to get real ugly for you real quick. I'll throw out 2 more there. And maybe, I don't want to say these are unconventional, but they're not in the top 10, but they're close to being in the top 10. I think there's a tremendous amount of pressure for Shane Beamer at South Carolina, who I believe in. But Lenore Sellers, if he could hit, that dude could be as good as any quarterback in the country. With how big he is, with how he could run. He needs to have a year this upcoming season, and they had a very good finish last year. They're one of the strongest teams in the country at the end of the year. He can't have a Jalen Milroe type of season where it's either all or nothing. There has to be a little bit of a middle ground. He can't be hitting the floor as much as Jalen Milroe did, because he has an ability to be the best quarterback in the country this year in Lenore Sellers. And for South Carolina, it's okay. We all know you have a good team. But with the SEC being open, right? Like Texas is probably going to be most people's picks to win the SEC. After that, like Georgia and Alabama aren't that strong. Can a South Carolina get to a conference championship game? And can they win the SEC conference this year? And also, I'll take another SEC team, Florida. Billy Napier, everyone had him fired early in the season. Then I think more so the idea of if you get rid of Billy Napier, DJ Lagway probably kept his job. But then Billy Napier, he got the endorsement earlier from his AD that he was going to be back next year. But then he had some good wins at the end of the season. Notably that Ole Miss game where Jackson Dart was just terrible at the end of the game. I think he had basically what should have been 3 picks, but 1 was taken off the board because the ball hit the ground and then he threw a pick again. But now Napier and DJ Lagway, they got to be a playoff team for this upcoming season. All righty, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Oh, We'll do this. I'll take a break. I'll get to the call on the other side. We got a news brief still to come. Ryan Hollins also going to join us coming up at 4:40 p.m. Eastern Time.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
You know, I had a private driver pick me up at the Vegas airport. He was sensational. I never met the guy in my life, though. Very good conversation, and basically opened me up into life of getting new luggage, because my luggage that I guess I was traveling with was a little bit below average. So I think I'm going to get new luggage now to travel when you have a little quick trip and you spend a few days in Vegas. But you know, I thought it was very interesting that my private driver that picked me up at the airport then valeted his car at my hotel and then liked me so much that he wanted to sit down with me and watch in the sports book in Vegas at the Cosmopolitan a Vegas Golden Knights game. And I felt really bad for him because he wasn't the biggest sports fan in the world. And when the Golden Knights, and this guy claimed he was a Golden Knights fan, beat the Minnesota Wild, he started calling them the Minnesota Vikings and doing a skull chant and taunting people in the sports book. But he seemed like a very nice guy, so I didn't want to interrupt him and tell him, hey, that's not the Minnesota Vikings. Those are the Minnesota Wild. I wonder what happened to that guy, though. Very nice guy that I met in Vegas. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. And Elvis calling from, is this the real Elvis? He's now on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. Elvis, how are you?
You know, Zach, just driving along these beautiful highways of Las Vegas and reminiscing about our little hang that we got to do last week.
Oh, you were my driver?
And you need to do a poll because not only was your luggage subpar, it was some of a 14-year-old kid that is defiant with the parents of like, I don't want to go on this trip. So you just pack whatever bag you can find, whether it's yours or your older sister's, like as beat up backpack, as beat up duffel bag as I've ever seen possible. And mind you, Zach, 16 years ago, I had Irish suitcases.
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't know what an Irish suitcase is, you might want to Google it. But come on, Zach, you have a national radio show. You can't be traveling with ripped, beat up duffel bag.
So if you can't tell, this is yeah. If you can't tell, this is Sully, and obviously Sully was my private driver in Vegas. I had a great time hanging with him, but he kept on looking at me when he saw my luggage. He goes, "You have a national radio show." He goes, "Get better luggage." Now, here's the thing: the mini bag that I brought with me to just fit my golf shoes was like my grandfather's bag that was like given to me after he passed away. So like when I have to go on like a small trip, I'll pack things in that. Now hold on. That's the blue bag. The black bag was given to me from a buddy whose wedding I was in a year ago, and it's a garment bag that's also a duffel bag. I didn't think that bag was that bad.
Zach, go to Toomey, walk in there and say, I need a nice, not expensive, just a run-of-the-mill travel bag that I can throw in the overhead compartment. And that's it. And if you want something else, be like, you know what? That backpack looks like a nice matching set. How about I do the two of those, please? My name is Zach Gelb. I have a national radio show. I don't know if you've ever heard of me.
I have Sully
a couple
bucks.
of bucks that I could spend. Buddy, Sully bucks, amazing. And leave the luggage. Your grandpa's, leave it behind. Keep it as your nice, beautiful gym bag. You need to step up your game, Zach. I'm going to be hanging with you. We got to step up your game, Zach.
My shoes have gotten better. We took a good photo together, so I checked one thing off, getting good shoes since I knew I was going to see you. Now I have to, yes, get better luggage. It's a work in progress, Sully.
Baby step, buddy. Progress, not perfection. I'm a big fan of that.
But I'll tell you what did deliver.
Anyway.
I'll tell you what did deliver. Piero's. Oh, boy. The steak at Piero's was phenomenal. The veal parmesan was sensational. Everything was slapping. The garbage Caesar salad. What was the other thing that you told me to get? What was it? It wasn't the meatballs. The yellowtail.
Yellowtail.
Sully, I know you can't see me right now. I just gave you a chef kiss. That was phenomenal. Great job.
Buddy, the highlight of your trip was me being able to hang out with you, just chilling in the sports book for about 3 hours.
Oh, 100%. It was the most peaceful part of my trip. I'll tell you that. And we watched a lot of hockey and a lot of basketball. And man, Sully, you were talking a lot of crap to everybody in that sports book.
Well, the people behind me were like, I said, who did you bet? And they said, the Vikings. And I'm like, the Vikings? What are you talking about? And he goes, I'm sorry, I just see VGK. That's why the Viking chant started.
Yeah, I know.
They had money on Vegas, but was calling them the Vikings. And then they felt the need to tell me what they needed to happen for his bet to hit. And I think you heard my response is, no one cares about your bet. We want the Knights to win. You're in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and then Sully in his Boston accent was like, Christian Ponder's not the quarterback of the Vikings either.
No, he's not. You made me sound like a Long Island Jewish person.
Yeah, well, I am a Long Island Jewish person.
You got to work on the accent. And by the way, another thing, I spent 3 hours with you, Zach. You could at least tell me, hey, Sully, by the way, we got a new phone number. Left that off the bingo card, buddy.
Oh, I thought you had our hotline. I'll send you the hotline. You don't have to wait on the regular phone.
I have it now. Well, I have it now because Samantha, I had to text him and be like, hey, buddy, what's with this new phone system? And Samantha took care of me.
Well, I apologize on that. But I did enjoy hanging with you, and we had a great time. And those French fries in the sports book were very good, I will say.
I'm glad we got time together, Zach. I always enjoy it. I hope everything continues with your success. And seriously, if I ever pick you up again and you show up with that luggage, I'm leaving it there.
Okay, I'll just jump on your hood. That's what I'll do. All right, I got to get better luggage.
Love you, buddy.
Thank you, Sully. Sully in Vegas. Oh, my God. Sully picked me up at the airport, and the first thing he said to me, he goes, great to see you. I have an issue with you. And I'm like, what? I go, what the heck? He goes, your luggage. He goes, we got to fix this luggage. He said it to me. It was a 10 to 15-minute ride from the airport to the hotel. He goes, you have a national radio show. Start acting like a national radio host and get better luggage. Oh, Sully going after the people that thought the Vegas Golden Knights were the Vikings. And then I may have been stirring the pot a little bit. Just a little bit. And I started doing a skull chant. It wasn't Sully. It was me doing the skull chant.
Honestly, when you're telling that story, I'm saying to myself, there's no doubt in my mind that it was Zach who started that. 100%. I love Sully, but I don't even think he knows a skull chant.
Sully was annoyed, though.
For sure.
Because he goes, nobody cares about your bet. And he starts going, Minnesota, the Minnesota Vikings, the Vikings, the Vikings.
I will say this. After a few drinks, if I know I'm rooting for Minnesota and then I see a VGK on the screen, my brain might scramble enough to think.
The Vikings?
I mean, you're kind of like half there, half not. You see Minnesota, you see VGK, you're like, oh, the Vikings.
No, I'm sorry. There is no justification. And also, it was so confusing because I thought, maybe Sully was just making a joke about Minnesota. And then he goes, no, the people thought the Vegas Golden Knights were the Vikings. And I go, okay, they bet the Vegas Knights thinking it was the Vikings. And at the end of the game, they're like, don't score, don't score, don't score. And I go, no, you want this team to score so you can play it. They go, no, we have the Vikings. I mean the Golden Knights and the under. So that ended up being the entire bit. All righty, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Ryan Hollins is going to join us on the other side. We'll chat it up with the former NBA player, now analyst for the Houston Rockets, go around the league with the craziness from the NBA last night as the Denver Nuggets and New York Knicks both snatch a victory from the jaws of defeat. And now we'll see how the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to respond and also the Boston Celtics are going to respond. And also, you have another team that's down 0-1 in the series. We thought the Cavs would be up 1-0. The Pacers got the job done, and they're in action tonight going up against the Cavs, and there's a lot of injury for the Cavs. So we'll see if this could be a situation where Indiana could go to Cleveland and take two. But this is the poll question today. We'll make sure we get it retweeted in just a bit. At Zach Gelb, at INF Sportsnet. Knicks, Nuggets, Pacers are up 1-0 on the Celtics, Thunder, and Cavaliers, respectively. Which team up 1-0 do you trust the most to actually win the series? 49.3% say the Nuggets, 36% say the Indiana Pacers, and 14.7% say the New York Knicks. And also on social media, once again at Zach Gelb, at INS Sportsnet, we have another question for you. It's a photo of myself and 100 Samters. Now, it's one of me and 100 Samters. Who wins, 100 Samters or one Zach Gelb? And I think this would be like a game of whack-a-mole for me. Giant whack-a-mole. If I had to go, like Dance Dance Revolution and whack-a-mole. That's what it would be if I had to try to fight Samter, 100 of them. All righty, we'll take a timeout. We'll come on back with Ryan Hollins. Update time first. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network Sports Flash.
Don't underestimate size. There will be no Triple Crown winner this year, with Sovereignty skipping the Preakness following its win in the Kentucky Derby. Winning the national championship resulted in a new deal for Todd Golden. The 39-year-old Florida coach gets a 6-year extension worth over $40 million. There have been 3 second-round games in the NBA playoffs so far, and the home team has lost all 3, and the Cavaliers try to bounce back from the loss over the weekend in Game 2 tonight against the Pacers. They have issues right now. Darius Garland missed Game 1 with a sprained toe. Evan Mobley and DeAndre Hunter are both questionable. Then there's the 121 points they gave up in the opener. Hit Coach of the Year, Kenny Atkinson, put to the test tonight.
Simple things like sprinting back, winning the first kind of stuff we've talked about. Ball pressure, communication. There's a lot of things that go into it. Sometimes you just got to go back kind of like to your fundamentals.
Out west, 2 lower seeds that pulled off first-round upsets meet. The 6th-seeded Wolves host the 7th-seeded Warriors. In the NHL, the Capitals host the Hurricanes in Game 1 of their second-round series. And out west, the Oilers and Golden Knights in Vegas. I'm Rich Happy.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, it is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. So, I told you I won a nice little bet in Vegas, 9-1 on Sovereignty, who won the Kentucky Derby. Well, Sovereignty's now not going to race in the Preakness, so you'll not have a Triple Crown winner. So I found out how my friend got good intel while he was at the Kentucky Derby to bet Sovereignty. And I could share that story with you. Do you know that Eagles fan that paints his face all the time with the mohawk? And I think he goes to multiple sporting events. Sam, you're shaking your head. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know the look.
So I just Googled him. Let me see if what comes up. Eagles fan, mohawk. I met him at the Super Bowl. He's the Philly sports guy. Jamie Pagelelli, something like that. That's what comes up on Instagram. So anyway, this guy actually had a handler at the Super Bowl who is a buddy of mine from college who's an agent. And I guess that this guy has a lot of business deals because of his big social media following. I think he's in bed with like a ticket company or something. That's who ends up promoting him. So I didn't know he was at the Kentucky Derby. My friend who got me the intel to bet on Sovereignty, that was his call. He just called me and goes, hey, bet Sovereignty. I'm at the Derby, bet Sovereignty. That's just the word in the street is here. Well, he ran into the Philly sports guy. He goes, oh, I'm a big fan of yours. Because this guy now, my friend, lives in Philly. And the Philly sports guy with the mohawk and he's like a nut at the Eagles games, he was the one that said bet Sovereignty. And then it was just a trickle-down effect where my friend Lee told me, then I told other people, and I ended up betting Sovereignty to win the Kentucky Derby, and it ended up closing at 9-1. A little disappointing, though. To answer Santa's question yesterday, he asked me, as the Triple Crown lost some luster to it, are we really going to care about the Preakness now, unless if you're betting on it with Sovereignty not in the race? As you win the first leg, obviously, the Kentucky Derby, then there's the chase to the Triple Crown. Now you don't have Sovereignty in the mix for the Preakness, so all the air just got let out of the balloon. We're going to have to figure out who we're going to bet for the Preakness. Because now I feel like I'm the horse whisperer. Because I got all this information, and I ended up winning the Kentucky Derby. So now, if I didn't win the Kentucky Derby bet, there's no way I would be betting the Preakness. But now I got to do a little research, and a few weeks from now at Pimlico, we will find a way to get a nice little show bet for the Preakness.
The question I have for you is, do you say if you didn't win the Kentucky Derby, you wouldn't have bet the Preakness?
Yeah, I wouldn't have cared.
Which is not what any gambler has ever said ever.
Yeah.
Usually it's like,
Jason.
I lost that bet, and therefore now I got to remake it.
Well, here's the thing with me in gambling. I usually don't bet on things that I don't care about. So I have to usually bet something that I have an invested interest in, that like I would actually watch, not just throw some money down on something and then not pay attention to it. So for the Kentucky Derby, if my friend didn't call me and if I wasn't at the sportsbook in Vegas where there was a good vibe, there's no way I would have bet the Kentucky Derby. Even though I do watch the Triple Crown usually in the chase of the Triple Crown, but now I guess I'm going to have a little bit of a rooting interest here. Even though sovereignty's out there, we'll see if I can end up getting the pick right for the Preakness. What a night, though, in the NBA last night. That was wild. Denver finding a way to steal that game at the end. Nikola Jokic, what he's been able to do as an elite player, the best player in the league, and then as a player's coach right now with Mike Malone getting fired. So Denver's up 1-0. Cavs will try to even up this series tonight. We'll see who the heck is playing. And then you also had the New York Knicks with Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Karl Anthony Towns, and the sensational defensive player Mikal Bridges coming on back from 20 to end up taking down the Boston Celtics in Game 1 in overtime. So let's look back at the Rockets season with the TV analyst for the Houston Rockets. Also, we'll touch on these NBA games in the postseason around number 2. And a good friend of the show, Ryan Hollins, is kind enough to join us right now. Ryan, appreciate the time. How you been?
Oh man, doing good. No problem at all, man. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to have you back on the show. So I know you do the Rockets games all throughout the season. How do you look back at what the Rockets were able to do, even though it didn't end the way that they wanted it as a 2 seed going down to the Warriors in that Game 7?
Unbelievable year. If I were a betting man and you told me our group would be second in the Western Conference, as stacked as it was going into the preseason, I'd have lost all my money. And I love my guys. Okay, I love my guys. So Ime has gotten on the fast track to success. He put in all of his principles last year. There was the kind of welcome to Ime school, and this year our guys took off and ran with it, and the accountability was off the charts. So we had a special group. It's fun. And I'm telling you, I'm talking about and from what I'm hearing from the front office and from the fan base and this was you wish it ended better, but in years, this was a special season for the Houston Rockets.
And now there's all that speculation about the future because you got a ton of young players, you got a ton of picks. Kevin Durant has a good relationship with Ime Udoka. Maybe Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be coming available this offseason. Do you kind of get that feel? Hey, maybe KD, maybe Giannis could be joining the Rockets this offseason.
You know the best thing right now, Zach? You know the best thing going on in Houston? And for anybody in life, it's rare that you get these options, man. Houston has options. If they stay put, they're good. Nobody's fussing. And I know Jalen Green didn't have the best series, but it's his first series, man. He's only going to get better. You got to understand how young he is and absolutely how talented he is, the way he jumps, the way he moves, the way he can get his shot off. And again, he's going to be better. Okay, everybody calm down. He's going to be better. I know the expectations are there when you're great, but if Houston wants to make a move, they're the best equipped. They're the best equipped. You know, for some crazy, wild reason, Giannis Antetokounmpo says, I want to get on the market, I want to get out. Milwaukee's gonna call Rafael Stone and say, Rafael, I love what you got, okay? If Kevin Durant wants to get out and come to Houston, Phoenix are going to say, you got our picks, and we love what you got at the end of the day. So I'm excited to move forward, and patience is a key virtue in our front office and coaching staff. Everybody's been patient in ownership. And again, you get in these situations. I mean, come on, Zach. How often are you going to be in a situation where your old girl, your high school sweetheart, and the new hot young thing are both there available, and they're like, you know what? You tell me what you choose. You know, we're both here waiting for you, man.
Hey, you got to go home with somebody though. Eventually,
you're going home with somebody at the end of the day, man. All right, it's where, man.
All right, let's get to last night in the NBA because I thought it was one of the best nights that basketball's had in quite some time. Just with the Knicks coming on back and then Denver coming on back. Let me start it off with Denver. What else is there to say with Nikola Jokic? Because it's one thing to see what he does on the court, and he's the best player in the league, and quite frankly, I don't even think it's close anymore. But he has turned into a player's coach recently, and he's become more vocal since the firing of Mike Malone.
I'm going to clear things up. In fairness, I saw the clip prior, and he did that when Mike Malone was there. Okay, so people don't realize he's grabbed the clip for it. He's been vocal since Mike Malone was there. So let's not, jump all over that. That's just the type of guy he is. But as a player, he's so good. I think we're losing the ability to quantify what he's bringing to the table. The only thing we keep saying is it's ridiculous. And he's a guy, if he gets another championship, you're going to put him not just in the greatest center of all time conversation. You're going to be arguing, he's knocking on the door on that greatest of all time. He's knocking on the door in that top 5 category because of his impact on the game, the way he moves the basketball. Obviously, it's not sexy. It's tough because he's not a media mongol. It's tough because he doesn't play to the crowd. It's tough because he's just told you there's very moments in his body language as, I could care less about the things that you want to run on from the media standpoint. But he's as certified as it gets. And I remember when he was younger, man, his ability to pass and move and everything, but he wasn't aggressive. But his aggression and the way the game is played today, he's special, brother. He's special, and you can see his impact on the floor because he takes guys and he just makes them better the way that he plays the game.
How do you think the coach of the Thunder, Jack Nolt, managed that end of the game? I don't have a problem fouling up 3, but I thought he started that approach way too early.
Yeah, in Mark's defense, I think he's figuring out what the Nuggets are. And at the end of the day, when you play in a playoff series, you never want to show – you got 7 more games, dude. You never want to show your hand early. Hey, I thought SGA went and dunked the basketball, and he should have just held it, ran some clock off, and got fouled. There's about 10 seconds on the clock. So there are a number of things that went on. And, the tough pill to swallow is Oklahoma City. They're going to get back in the locker room likely this morning. They're going to watch that film. And it's tough. You're gonna watch the last 5 minutes or so of that film. You're gonna say we had the game. Chet, make your free throws. Hey, time manage and score. Hey, go close out on Gordon. I know you're playing rim. Transition defense is gonna be the thing. Is everybody sprinting back with their hair on fire? And then you're gonna say, hey, we're the better team. At the end of the day, that's what they're gonna chalk it up to. And now you're gonna see a lot of those strong adjustments, but man, I'm telling you, that's a tough way to lose a game, man.
And then on the other side, the game before that, the Knicks looked like they were going to lose by 40 at one point. Then they probably should have won the game in regulation. I was shocked Brunson missed it at the end. But then in overtime, you had Mikal Bridges and Karl Anthony Towns really step up and get that victory for the Knicks. But I still can't believe Boston missed 45 three-pointers in the game, Ryan Hollins. That was just unbelievable to watch.
Again, game 1, you don't want to show your adjustments. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And at the end, and my challenge, I don't really care about the adjustments or continuing to shoot. But when you see a certain number of misses, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, we want to put him in that 1A, 1B conversation with the league's best. You go grab the ball and go make a play. And hats off to Brunson. When it got hot, he started absolutely torching. I think if he does it again in game 2, he's going to get trapped. You got to get the ball out of his hands. He was red hot. He showed you that he's that dude. And if they didn't have respect for him, they should have a lot of respect for him now. And the difficulty with going with the Knicks, forgive me, any Knickerbockers out there right now, is that it took you so much to get game 1. As we roll on, if you push it to 7 games, right, per se, let's say you push it to 7 games, you wear thin, and Boston's digging into their bench. They're playing deep. That's what they've done all season, so that they can be fresh for those moments. So you almost expect, unfortunately, that Boston may run out of power. And at the end of the day, their 5, and I said this before, their 5 is just as talented as Boston. They can hang with them what they bring together, and it's a group with experience, and they got a lot of chemistry because they've been doing it for a while. And nonetheless, it's good to see New York basketball playing well in the playoffs.
Who do you like, by the way, Golden State and Minnesota, Ryan Hollins, when you look at that series?
I like Minnesota. I think you got to put it. They're going to have to make no mistake. They're going to have to go out and beat Golden State. Golden State's as experienced, as certified, as tough-nosed defensively, and they got a guy in Steph Curry that's special. If he ain't trapped, or you not switching high, and I don't think they have the discipline that Houston has. he's going to have 40 plus in this series. He might average around 35 the way that he plays. That wouldn't surprise me. But I think top to bottom, they're more two-way players there in Minnesota. So I do think that Minnesota plays it out. I think Minnesota got to sit back and watch. I think their legs are absolutely fresh. They're excited. And they got a lot of respect for what Golden State has brought to the table. But Steve Kerr can coach his butt off, man. It's a championship group. But I think from a talent perspective, I think there's a lot more in Minnesota.
We'll see if the Cavs can even up the series tonight. I don't even know who's going to be available for Cleveland because they're the walking wounded right now. Can the Pacers get 3 more victories and pull off this series and go to the conference finals?
I've been telling people about these Pacers. Man. They play fast. They play together. Halliburton is in that elite company of guys who can beat you with the pass and with the shot. LeBron can do it. Luka can do it. Harden can do it. Hey, if you want to throw Brunson in there, I have no problem with that. But he's a guy who can legitimately make those plays. They move the basketball as well as anybody that I've seen, and maybe the best that I've seen in this. You know what? They move the basketball the best that I've seen in this generation under Rick Carlisle. If there's a kick-ahead pass, they make it. They got 3 point guards, man. Nimhard and, what's the other kid? TJ McConnell. They are tough as nails. It's not the sexiest team, right? They're not number 40 inches, but they play basketball the right way. And Miles Turner is really going to be a headache in this series because he pops out, he shoots a 3, he blocks shots. He's going to have to play a very, very high clip for them to continuing to have chances in this series. But I believe, call me crazy if you want, I think Indiana's a better team, dude. Wow. Because the way they play. I think they're more equipped here. Not that the talent's not there in Cleveland. They had an unbelievable season, but I think Indiana's a better playoff team.
I got 45 seconds left, Ryan Hollins. Do you have any problem? I saw Draymond Green was annoyed that Dylan Brooks didn't shake his hand after the series. Any problem with that?
There's no surprise, man. Hey, Dre is going to be Dre. And Dylan saw that and kept it going, man. And that's why you love those two as competitors. And that's the unique space that we're in 2025, where players play and then podcast right after the game. Draymond's probably the most unique. He got the campaign for his own Defensive Player of the Year award. And I love Dylan Brooks like no other, man. There's no question there. But, Draymond always going to look for some bulletin board material. At this point, he's finding ways to get himself going. And we're not even in the series right now, So it's fun. And I love it, man. And those two are they're probably the two one of the greatest competitors that we have in this era. They're playing old school basketball. The only difference is Draymond's got a mic. Imagine Rick Mahorn in his playing days with a mic in his hand, or Dennis Rodman podcasting while playing. That's what we're getting to a certain degree.
And some rings too on Draymond's hands. There's no doubt about that. Ryan
Absolutely.
Hollins, appreciate the time. Thanks so much for doing this. We'll talk to you soon.
No problem, brother. Talk soon.
There you go. Ryan Hollins joining us on the show. Great stuff with him. We'll come on back. Knicks, Pacers, Nuggets, all up 1-0. Who do you trust the most to win that series and end up going on and finding 3 more victories with all those 3 teams being up 1-0 currently? We'll get to that answer next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Alrighty, here we go. Hour number 3 of our radio program. It is the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. So far, you have the New York Knicks up 1-0 against the Boston Celtics, as the New York Knicks last night were down 20, and then OG Anunoby and Jalen Brunson, they came alive, and I thought Jalen Brunson was going to win that game right at the buzzer, and that shot did go in and out, and he just missed that bunny right at the buzzer, which was a great pass by Karl Anthony Towns. And then you saw the Knicks in overtime finally get something out of Mikal Bridges on the offensive end. His defensive game is the only reason why he was still in the game. And Karl Anthony Towns came alive with, let's be real, through the first 48 minutes, he was really underwhelming. So heck of a victory by the Knicks. Boston also missed 45 three-pointers last night. I knew that they missed a lot because at one point during the game I said they missed 40 three-pointers. But when I read this morning that the number, just to make sure that I wasn't delirious and I wasn't dreaming of something, that the number was 45, that was just still wild. Absolutely wild to see. But you continue to keep that moving. The Indiana Pacers, they look to take a 2-0 series lead tonight. There's a lot of injury problems right now with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And we'll see who's going to be available for the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight. It's a lot of, you had 3 guys that missed shoot-around. So now that is of concern. What's going to happen with the Cleveland Cavaliers? And then you look at the Denver Nuggets. Just like the Knicks, they won a game that probably they shouldn't have won with how the majority of the game did go. And when you look back at that Nuggets and Thunder game, I think that was the first time you saw the inexperience of the Oklahoma City Thunder, where it was, okay, you were at home, you felt like you were going to win a game, your coach says, okay, we're going to foul up 3, and after that, you get Nikola Jokic back in the game, and not only that, Chet Holmgren, who's a really good young basketball player, just missed those 2 free throws at the end. And then how about, when you saw Russell Westbrook, Stu, because Russell Westbrook was on the Lakers for what, 1 season, right? Half season?
I think it was more like 2. It was like 1.5 to 2, yeah.
Was that 2 seasons, really?
I believe so.
Wow. So you know what to get with Russ. Because even though Russ is a phenomenal basketball player, how many times you see him do something and you go, oh, what the heck is he doing? And Russell Westbrook, even going back to, it was Denver and Los Angeles. And that one game that they won in overtime, there were so many moments where you look, he was going to be the hero, then the zero, then back to being the hero, especially when he made that steal at the end of the game right off the inbounds pass. But anyway, Russell Westbrook last night, when he's dribbling that ball right towards the end of the game, after the second Chet Holmgren missed free throw, and it's only a 1-point game, right? And they just take the basketball and go. When you see Russ just dribbling like out of control in an uncontrollable fashion, aren't you thinking that he's going to have a turnover? Or he's going to dish off the ball with no time left, and then he dishes off the ball to Aaron Gordon, which Aaron Gordon was open, so you take the shot. But when he's taking a 3, I'm saying to myself, what are they doing? They're only up 1. They're only down 1. Like, you don't need a 3 here. Get an easy 2, but that's the NBA now. And even, I don't know if you saw this, the analysts, because it's not on local TV anymore. It's all national, these games, after the first round. So all the guys that usually do, and the guys and gals that usually do the Nuggets games, they're in studio back in Denver. And their reactions getting recorded in the studio, and the 3 people that were a part of the broadcast are all saying, no, yes, and then celebrating. And that's the game, really, of Russell Westbrook into the Aaron Gordon 3, and then Aaron Gordon ends up winning it. And what Nikola Jokic is doing right now, you know, he feels underappreciated to me, which is weird to say about the best player in the league who's won 3 MVPs. Because he gets these games now, 40-plus points, 20-plus rebounds, you know, is the 4th player in the history of the NBA postseason at 40-plus rebounds, 40-plus points, 20-plus rebounds, and 5-plus assists. Only 4 players have done that in NBA postseason history now. Nikola Jokic on that list. And he had an unbelievable game last night. I know everybody talks about Aaron Gordon, but because he had the big shot at the end with the cojones, you look at Nikola Jokic, what else is there to say? If you say his game's boring or you can't enjoy his game, then I don't want to watch sports with you. Because this dude, night in and night out, is just like a walking 40 points and 20 rebounds, and he just makes it look so easy. Like, that's the part, if I didn't like the Nuggets, which I actually like Denver, and I like Nikola Jokic, and I've been a big supporter of his for a while, going back to the bubble, I said Jamal Murray's good enough to be the, in a Batman-Robin relationship, he'd be the Robin if Nikola Jokic is the Batman. And he just got to be healthy, and they did win a championship together. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I was optimistic about the Nuggets heading into the postseason because they fired Michael Malone and Calvin Booth to win a championship together, who's the coach and the GM 3 games before the postseason started. So I didn't think that was going to all work out. But what Nikola Jokic is doing right now, as a player is elite, but he's also been this out-of-this-world type of coach because, Adelman, I know he comes from a family of basketball coaches in Adelman, but he's not, he doesn't look ready to be the head coach of a team that's in the second round of the postseason. So now you're seeing Nikola Jokic. I know Ryan Hollins said he's been vocal before, not to this level. He looks like he's coaching the team. And he's coaching the team now to the second round of the postseason. They have a 1-0 lead up against a team from a record standpoint that's the best team in the league in the Oklahoma City Thunder. So Knicks up 1-0 against Boston. Pacers up 1-0 against the Cavs. Nuggets up 1-0 up against the Thunder. And I saw that Brian Windhorst was on ESPN Cleveland earlier today. And he said Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, and DeAndre Hunter all missed shoot-around earlier this morning. And Windy pointed out, hey, there is something to read into that because typically if you don't do shoot-around, that's not a good sign that you're going to play. Now, can they play? Sure, it's the postseason. It's different. But you have Evan Mobley, Darius Garland, and DeAndre Hunter all missing shoot-around. Now, maybe Garland's going to play because he basically told Jared Greenberg, who's the courtside reporter now for NBA on TNT for this series, he said, yeah, I'm going to play, and that was after game one. So maybe with his injury, they're not trying to rush him out on the court for shoot-around. He just knows he's going to be ready to go for the game. But if you get one of those guys to play, I think it's a win for the Cavs. If you get two, I'd be surprised. If all three play, I'd be shocked. If you could just get one, you take it. But I'll tell you right now, I look around at the NBA postseason. I'll ask this poll question right now, and I'll give you my answer on it. And we'll go around the room and get the answer as well. Knicks, Nuggets, Pacers are all up 1-0 on the Celtics, Thunder, and Cavaliers, respectively. Which team up 1-0 do you trust the most to actually win this series? The early returns on this poll question right now, which you can find at Zach Gelb at INF Sportsnet, 49.7% say the Denver Nuggets, 35.8% say the Indiana Pacers, and 14.6% say the New York Knicks. Go, New York, go, New York, go. Stu, what's your answer here? What's your answer and why? Out of the teams that are up 1-0, Pacers, Nuggets, and Knicks, who do you think has the best chance to go win 3 more games in the series?
So I'm between the Pacers and the Nuggets. I think I'm going to go with the Pacers mainly because of the Cavs' injuries and the Cavs never really being here before. Now, you can say the same thing about the Thunder not being here, but I think when you combine the injuries that the Cavs have with that, I think the Pacers, I think they're going to win this series.
And that would be back-to-back years that the Pacers would get to the conference finals.
Yeah. Under the radar. Very under the radar.
Because I was at that game 2, Knicks-Pacers, where I think the Knicks did get the victory, but you had injuries to OG Anunoby, and Jalen Brunson wasn't healthy in that series, and that wasn't a fully loaded Knicks team, but they ended up losing in 7. And that would be back-to-back years the Pacers go to the conference finals. Wow, that would be something. So your order, just so I got you right, was Pacers 1, Nuggets 2.
And then the Knicks, I would have a distant 3.
And then the Knicks at 3. All right, Samter, what would be your order here?
I'm going to be boring. I'm going to go Nuggets 1, Pacers 2, Knicks 3. I think the Knicks, kind of what Ryan Hollins said, they used everything that they had to claw back from that 20-point deficit. The Celtics literally had to do everything wrong and just miss 3 after 3 after
45
3.
of them.
I'm watching Jason Tatum just do step back 3 after step back 3, clank, clank, clank in the fourth quarter. That's not them. They're going to fix it. They're championship team. So the Knicks, I think 5-6. I don't think it's going to be a series.
Here's the only thing that I'll say about the Celtics. They won a championship last year, right? Give them credit.
Yeah.
Now, they did overachieve in the early part of that tenure of Tatum and Brown, especially when you had injuries to Kyrie and Gordon Hayward, right? And then that team got so close but yet so far where it's like, okay, like you went from overachieving originally. I think I said underachieve, but I think you went from overachieving originally to then you were underachieving. And there were some bad losses in there. Now, you've won a championship, so all those years you underachieved kind of did go away for those 3 to 4 years where they had some bad losses. Do they pop back up here? That's now everyone gives them the benefit of the doubt. They deserve the benefit of the doubt. But now Kristaps Porzingis being hurt, and we don't know when he's going to come back, and they keep on saying it's an illness, but who the heck knows what's going on with him? Does maybe they go back to being the Boston Celtics and underachieve? I don't think it's crazy, but I'm with you guys. I do think out of the 3, with all that being said, the Knicks would be in at 3, which is kind of funny because I think the Knicks Nuggets and Pacers, if you just look at the construction of the roster, I think the Knicks are the best team out of the three. Now, the Nuggets clearly have the best player in Nikola Jokic. The Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton is underappreciated. The fact that this dude was voted the most overrated player in the league, what is it, just because it's a small market? And it's like, all right, that's a good team, not a great team. Yeah, give me a break. This guy is a heck of a basketball player. The only thing wrong with him is his father's a pain in the ass. Going back to when the father was celebrating Giannis Antetokounmpo's face. Is there something going on with the soccer game right now?
Oh, there is. There is, but you don't want to have to get into it. Let's just say this is one of the greatest soccer matches that's ever been played.
Okay, because I'm giving this take. I'm spitting fire right now, and I thought that like there was something going wrong with you, or you're gonna have to leave the studio.
No. Well, I mean, yeah,
the two of you.
Yeah, I told you. This is one of the most insane soccer matches in the.
What's going on with the little football?
So this is the Champions League, which is basically the biggest
FC
tournament.
Barcelona, my team is playing.
Yeah, so Barcelona is playing in the semifinals
I have a hat
against
and a
Inter
scarf.
Milan.
They're my team. How we doing?
Not great. So
wait, hold on. I'm like Manny right now. I'm saying they're my team. I'm not even watching them.
It's like me with the Rangers. The Rangers are my team. I couldn't name 3 players on them right now.
Until you run into Mark Messier on the train. You're like, oh, Mess, I love you. Huge fan.
Mess is a different story. But let's just put it this way. So this is the semifinals. Each team plays the same team in the semifinals twice.
What tournament is this?
The Champions League, which is like the biggest tournament.
I know the Champions
League is a big deal.
Yeah.
Right?
There's just so many of them.
The combined score of these two matches, the winner advances. Okay, so in the first match, it was 3-3 between these two teams, Barcelona and Inter Milan.
Wait, now hold on. Advanced
to the finals.
Oh, so this is semifinals.
This is the semifinals. Okay. The combined score of the two matches, you advance. So the first match was 3-3. This match, Inter Milan came out 2-0. Barcelona tied the game, which it doesn't happen. When you're down 2-0, it's rare that you tie the game. Then they took the lead. Then Inter scored a goal with like 30 seconds left to tie it. And just before the game was about to go into overtime, maybe the best young player in the entire world, Yamal, who plays for Barcelona, he's 20 years old.
Was this in stoppage time?
This was at 96th minute, just before they blew the whistle. He comes in to give them the win, and he hits it right at the goalie, and it gets saved. Now we're in overtime.
Oh, he didn't make it.
He didn't make it. So now we're in overtime.
You set it up like he made it.
No, which is incredible. This would be the equivalent of like LeBron James missing a layup to win the NBA, to advance the NBA Finals.
Okay.
All right. So that's the equivalent of how close this goal was from one of the best players in the world. Now we're in overtime, and Inter just scored again. It is now 4-3 in this game, 7-6 overall in aggregate. This is incredible.
So it's in overtime.
It's overtime isn't like a golden boot. It's not like, hockey where one goal you win.
I know my soccer.
Okay, so you play 2 15-minute overtime periods. If it's tied afterwards, then you have PKs.
Will they even do PKs still in this?
Yeah, they do, because this is tournament-based. Tournament-based, they do PKs.
Didn't have one year the World Cup ended in PKs?
Yes. That was with Italy. Was that Italy, France?
Well, that was France, Argentina 2 years ago.
Yeah, look at that.
There you go.
You guys impressed by that knowledge,
Mr. Soccer over here, Zach.
Mr. Soccer.
But actually,
call me Pele.
It was Italy, France. Also, you talk about Zidane and the headbutt. That ended in a PK, and Zidane, who's one of the best PK kickers in the game, couldn't play because he got the red card for the headbutt.
Yeah, I still think it's an unbelievable moment. I think it's my favorite moment with soccer. So, man, I wasn't expecting that. So you guys are that glued into... Is that?
Well, I was going to answer your conversation here that you were talking about.
Are these your teams here? No? Do you guys root for
not my team.
Because
no.
Is there ever a stop with this soccer stuff? Every day there's a new tournament, new thing, and there's a game. Like, when do you guys, get a little management day and not watch this stuff?
Well, here's the thing about soccer, right? Like, we talk about the NBA. There's one league. It's the NBA.
Yeah.
Soccer has leagues all around the world. So
Stu's a big MLS guy.
Yeah. So just when the MLS ends, then you have the Premier League, then you have the La Liga, then you have the World Cup. There's a million different leagues and activities going on. So soccer is a year-round thing.
It's too much. That's why I think I never got into soccer. There's too many things.
Well, there's a little break in July.
Ask Stu if it's too much.
No, but to me, it's not too much.
Yeah, but this would be like if I was a fan of a single A baseball team and then followed the double A baseball team and the triple A baseball team and the Major League Baseball team all in the same season. That would be how much time you new teams, new tournaments. It's way too much.
And then the guys go to their countries and play for their countries during the quote unquote off season.
Yeah, let me ask you this: Who is your team? If you could just pick one team in soccer.
Liverpool.
Oh, that you're wearing the hat.
Yes, the hat. Yes.
Santa, who is your team? If you could just pick one team. Only watch one team for the rest of your life in soccer.
It's Brentford.
Okay.
So Brentford is the team I worked for when I lived in London in 2001.
Oh, is that the team that sends you the free stuff?
No, that was Wrexham.
Oh, okay.
Wrexham is
That
Rob
close.
McElhaney and Ryan Reynolds' team, who just achieved the first ever triple promotion in the history of English soccer. They went from the National League to League Two
Sam's
to
trying
League
to get
One,
that free scarf
and now
again.
they're in the championship. The first time in English soccer history that a team got promoted 3 consecutive years.
Can they send us some swag after that? You know, that was what that was. So who's your second favorite team?
So for me, it's Brentford and then Wrexham, and then Barcelona is like my number 3.
Okay. Stu, who's your favorite second team? You don't have one.
Real Madrid. He
No,
loves
it's
them.
definitely not Real Madrid. No.
Is that some inside soccer humor? Because he said
I
Liverpool
don't like
at
Real
first?
Madrid. I hate Real Madrid. I'd have to think about that. I really don't have. Probably Wolverhampton, which is another Premier League team that I just kind of like.
So you're a Liverpool guy, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's your team.
That's my team. Yes.
And how often do you wake up on the weekends to watch them?
Every weekend.
At what time?
Depends on what time they play. Sometimes.
What's the earliest?
7:30 Eastern.
Oh my God! And your girlfriend's fine with that? You waking up at 7:30 on a Sunday or Saturday?
I mean, she's usually not getting up with me.
Yeah, I don't blame her. I would say go sleep on the couch. How dare you wake me up on a Saturday or Sunday morning? Go get a bag of chips and go sleep on the couch. You'd be lucky if I bring you a blanket. Anyway, I will answer my part of the poll question here as we got distracted, and I just got a history lesson in soccer. Let me know if FC Barcelona wins. I got a hat and a scarf in my closet. Maybe I could end up wearing it tomorrow. And I come on in and act like a Fugazi soccer fan. Oh, my God. Manny Rodriguez. Is there ever a sport that this guy doesn't comment on? First thing I see on Twitter. Oh, my God. Barcelona!
He's a Barca fan, so.
And then he followed up with, why does Barca do this every year? Manny likes too many teams, if we're being honest. He needs a little break from the sports world. But anyway, to answer this poll question, the teams that are up 1-0 in the NBA playoffs, if I had to rank the likelihood of them winning 3 more games, I would say it's the Nuggets are 1. I'm in the same order as Samter. It's the Nuggets 1 just because they have the best player in the league in Nikola Jokic. Then it would be the Indiana Pacers 2, who I'm actually annoyed with myself. I picked the Pacers and the Cavs in 7 before the start of the series, but I wanted to pick the Pacers. I was texting, I'm like, I kind of think the Pacers have a really good chance of the series. The Cavs probably win in 7, is the way that I said it, though. I'm very disappointed with myself. But we'll see what happens after tonight. But I think the injury is going to catch up to the Cavs. So I go Pacers 2, and then the Knicks 3. Knicks 3, Pacers 2, and then the Nuggets in at number 1. When you look at the teams that are up 1-0 in the series right now and who has the best chance to go on out there and end up winning 3 more games in that series to advance to the conference finals. What say you? 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. We will come on back, a little overreaction, proper reaction on a Tuesday.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Another NFL week is complete, which means it's another week to freak out about your favorite team. Which takes are truly crazy.
But sometimes a game can be so bad, it's almost good. You know what I'm saying? No.
And which are so crazy, they might be right.
He's 6'5", he's 245 pounds. He's probably a Popeye's biscuit away from being a tight end.
Zach lets you know in this week's edition of Overreaction or Proper Reaction.
Alrighty, overreaction, proper reaction time on the Zach Gelb Show on a Tuesday. Stu, I actually have an overreaction, proper reaction for you.
Okay.
Question right out of the gate. About 20 minutes ago, Stuart Kovacs tweeted out, "Nothing is better than Champions League knockout matches this time of the year. Nothing." Overreaction, proper reaction. If Stu's Los Angeles Lakers were still in the NBA playoffs, he would still find the Champions League more entertaining than his Lakers on a postseason run.
I think that's an overreaction. I think this is a better product.
Wow.
I genuinely think that this is a better product.
Overreaction or proper reaction? Stu is locked in on this show today.
That's a proper reaction. I could do both.
Sources say it could be an overreaction.
Uh-oh.
And to be fair, the tweet did come at 4:56 p.m. Eastern time, so that was in a break.
That was on my way to the men's room, yes.
Okay. I have some news on Bill Belichick, by the way. I got boots on the ground. Boots on the ground.
Uh-oh.
Do you know where Bill Belichick is today?
I don't.
He is in New York. And Bill Belichick is at a public event right now. It's a New York University event with Bill Belichick and Susie Welsh. You could buy tickets to this. Someone that I know bought tickets to it and went to watch Bill Belichick speak. No sign. Jordan Hudson.
Wow.
No sign of Jordan Hudson at the event. I thought if they were going to be in New York, they'd be at the Met Gala or something like that. Little book appearance. No Jordan Hudson. That's what I was told from a source. A source that is sending me the video as we speak of Bill Belichick getting introduced. So anyway, we can continue.
All right.
Big news there. Jordan Hudson not at the event. She's day-to-day, I hear. What do we got?
So Matthew Stafford and the Rams agreed to a new deal a few weeks ago, but they didn't finalize the exact details until yesterday. The rework deal includes $84 million in guarantees over the next 2 years, including $40 million if he's on the roster at the start of the next league year. Now, last week, Sean McVay joined Adam Shine and discussed Stafford's future with the team.
I think he came out of this season feeling really good physically, and so we have a chance with him every time he's at the switch, and love working with him. And I think he can play as long as he wants, but fortunately, I'm hoping it's a couple more years.
Overreaction or proper reaction, Matthew Stafford still has 2 high-level years left in him.
I think so. I think that's a proper reaction. Anything north of that, I wouldn't feel comfortable with saying, but I saw enough from him last year where I think he could still be a great quarterback. So I do think he has 2 high-level years left in him, especially with the team that they've built around him in L.A., and you got rid of Cooper Kupp, but I thought you upgraded bringing in Devontae Adams, and you still got Puka Nacua there. So I think that's a proper reaction.
Aiden Hutchinson
By the way, you think Samter went to the bathroom again?
He might have, honestly.
What the heck
if he's not back by now, that's usually the case.
I'm getting concerned about this. This is now
second time in a week, right?
Second time in a week where he's had to left the show to run to the bathroom. And he's like away for 7 or 8 minutes. So that's stomach.
He doesn't have any food here like last time, so it still could be stomach, though. I don't know what he had earlier.
I think he's eating Chinese food before the show today.
All the different
We may have
foods.
to have an intervention with him, Stu. It's like The Sopranos when they sit down Christopher Moltisanti when he has a drug problem. We may need to sit him down and be like, you have a food problem. Oh, here he comes around the corner.
Uh-oh.
Is he on the phone? Can you see him? Do you see Samter there? He's on the phone.
He's on the phone.
Oh, my God.
Oh, boy.
What's going on with Samter? All right. Let's act like we weren't just talking about it. Next question.
All right. Aiden Hutchinson is rehabbing his leg after that devastating injury last year. A new video was released showing the Lion star doing drills.
Santa's going to have a leg injury, a devastating leg injury, if you don't get back in her in a second. I'll tell you that.
With a sleeve on his leg, but some have pointed out that he still looks a bit slow and without significant burst. Overreaction or proper reaction, Hudson will be as good as he was before the injury.
That's a proper reaction. I'm not going to freak out with the video right now about Aiden Hutchinson not looking 100%. So I will go proper reaction there.
All right, Tyreek Hill just can't stay out of the news. While he's not demanding a trade this time, he put out a video where he ranked his top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Said, could I rank my top 5 quarterbacks? Lamar, Josh, Pat, obviously. No, this is no order, by the way. Baker Mayfield, and Joe Shiesty, too.
And, of course, noticeably absent from the list was his teammate, Tua Tagovailoa. Overreaction or proper reaction, Hill leaving his own quarterback, Tua, off of the list is a sign of trouble.
That's a proper reaction. Not that I think Tua Tagovailoa is anywhere close to being a top 5 quarterback in the league, but how often Tyreek Hill has gone out of his way to praise Tua Tagovailoa, and he put him on this list last year with Baker Mayfield, and now he picked Baker over Tua, which I would rather have Baker over Tua, but I still think it's a concern because even if your guy isn't a top 5 guy, you should probably still say it, especially when you were someone that was requesting a trade after the final game of the season and you walked that back. So Hill leaving his own QB Tua off that list is a sign of trouble. Yeah, there's a lot of signs of trouble with Tyreek Hill, so I will go proper reaction there.
Giants owner John Mara is reportedly looking to sell a 10% stake in the team, a move that has drawn interest from some big names. Now, one report says that Eli Manning is looking to find a group to purchase a share, while his former teammate Michael Strahan has already joined a different billionaire to bid on the team, creating an interesting competition. Overreaction or proper reaction, the Giants would be better off with Eli as a part owner rather than Strahan.
Can I ask ask a question? How the heck am I supposed to answer that? How do I have any idea what Eli Manning would be as an owner and Michael Strahan would be as an owner? I have no clue. Who would be a better owner, Michael Strahan or Eli Manning?
They're kind of more the figurehead.
Yeah, right.
I don't
a
think
minority
they're the
owner.
Yeah, they come to the games, they say hello, and it's like, oh, one of the owners. It's like John Elway. Elway was a little more involved, but
sure. Well, he was the president of football operations. Yeah, I would rather see Strahan over Eli. All right. I saw Strahan at the Knicks game the other week, so if I have to see him again, I don't want it to be in any issues or anything.
I go Eli.
Okay, we'll have a big debate about that.
Only because here's my I don't know how I came up with this, but I think Strahan would be more of the we got to do something now, and Eli would be stay the course. We're going to be okay. That's the only reason I take him.
We'll make the playoffs twice, but then when I make the playoffs, we'll win the championship.
Strahan would be in the coach's face if they didn't make the playoffs.
I would rather have Strahan because he did that whole stomp you out thing. So if he doesn't like a player, when they cut him, we'll stomp you out of the organization.
There you go.
So the Giants would be better off with Eli as a part owner than Strahan. Yeah, I guess overreaction. I'm not praising Eli Manning. I'm not doing it.
All right,
even though he's one of my favorite guests we've ever had on the show. What a question. Go ahead.
The Saints didn't take a quarterback in the first round of the draft, but they did take Louisville's Tyler Shuck in the second round to compete with Spencer Rattler and Derek Carr. Though longtime Saints reporter Mike Triplett thinks that Carr's time in New Orleans is likely over.
Do the Saints need to set a deadline with Carr?
Yeah, I think they do. I really think they do. This isn't like a contract negotiation where you know what the end result is going to be. The end result of this is almost certainly that he's not going to be playing for this team. I would say they absolutely need to set a deadline if there's any chance of him playing for this team, and that is, I think it's already passed. It's got to be shown up for OTAs by May 20th. If there's any chance he's going to play on this team or remain on this team in a leadership role, I think he has to be here for all of OTAs.
So overreaction or proper reaction, Derek Carr will not take another snap for the Saints.
There's something nefarious going on here. Where he was speaking, I think it was at like a church event, and he was clapping back at people that were questioning his shoulder injury. Like Adam Schefter even said something's going on here. And it does feel as if something's going on here. So I'm going to assume that Derek Carr will not take another snap for the Saints. So I do think that is a proper reaction. Now, we have put out a picture online at Zach Gelb. I don't know what the heck is going on with my left eye. Because I've had something stuck in my eye for the last 35 minutes, and I don't know what the heck it is, but I keep on blinking like a million miles an hour. But anyway, we have put a photo up online. It's 1 Zach Gelb or 100 Michael Samters. And this is the photo, so you could actually see it. But I know that you have commented on this, and right before you commented on it, I said, stop, we'll save your opinion on the air. You have a take here on 100 Samters or 1 Zach Gelb.
I go 100 Samters, and here's my rationale.
He's a pain in the ass?
Well, that could be
He's
there.
tough to get away?
But you got to figure, even though, you have the size advantage and yada, yada, but you got 100 of them. So you got to think that 30 of them, I took that number, you got to think 30 of them
to grab my left leg,
know how to fight. Maybe 15 know how to fight.
Samper.
Maybe 15 are dirty. Get down in the mud. 10, 15 of them, they're probably useless.
Yeah.
A couple of other guys will be happy to help out. I just think the strength in numbers kind of pays off there. It's sort of like when the wrestlers did the battle royale. They were like Iron Mike Sharp. He's like one of the first guys to go. Then a couple of gang up on each other, so it makes it easier to throw out like a Tony Atlas or something like that.
This is your best take ever.
Yeah, thank you. It's like,
even though it involves me getting my ass kicked.
Yeah. Well, so you got to figure, there got to be like 30 Samters that can just gang up. Like maybe 10 of them, will I'm not doubting your strength, but I'm just saying, let's say 10 Samters grab your legs and like another like kind of gives you a clothesline.
I'll stomp on them. It's like Dance Dance Revolution and Whack-A-Mole.
But I think there are too many. Like if it was like you with 10 Samters, I'd give you a little better shot. But 100, I just think there are just too many Samters like floating around there that are going to cause some damage somewhere.
So 1 gorilla or 100 people?
That's a good one. I go the 100 people.
Have you not heard this?
No, I've never heard that.
Oh, this has been the whole thing for the last week. That's why we've ended up going here. So now I feel like I'm talking to my father when there's a big social media trend, and he's like, I have no clue what's going on. So one gorilla, 100 people.
Well, you got to figure some of those 100 people know how to handle the gorilla.
Yeah.
You know,
But a lot would run in the other direction.
Yeah, exactly. But there's some idiots in there.
You're going the 100 people.
Yeah, well, there's some idiots in there that are like, all right, I want in, you know. And then there are some that are like, hey, I know how to handle this. So
get like a bunch of UFC fighters.
Yeah,
they have no
maybe
fear.
the gorilla ties himself out against the the idiots that say I want in and get their tuchus kicked. But I don't know. If I'm going to take 100 Samters here, I got to take 100 people. I got to be consistent.
Gotcha. So I'm the gorilla in this situation, and the 100 people are the Samters.
As I said, maybe like 20 of those Samters like hold your legs. Another like come on, the cross body block. It's like when the defensive back and the linebacker go up down on the receiver, and he goes does the helicopter.
Now, Samter, I'm just going to ask you a very simple question. Just give me the answer here, no explanation. One Zach Gelb up against one Michael Samter. Who wins in a fight?
I mean, I think it would be closer than you think, but you'd win. You got me by 100 pounds.
I just need the answer. See, I know where Samter's going with this because he's crazy that he thinks that it would be close between him and I in a fight, which is fine.
It's like that line from Friends when they go Red Ross, and Joey goes Dead Ross.
So now I asked Samter 100 Samters against one Zach Gelb. You're easily taking the 100 Samters.
Oh, not even close. I'm taking 50 Samters over Zach Gelb.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine.
Here's what's going to happen. One of those Samters is going to kneel down behind you. 40 Samters are going to push you over. You're going to fall down. You're going to be on the ground, and we're just going to jump on top, and you're done.
It's a good strategy. Just if you're killing me, can I get fed like Peter Luger or something for my last meal?
I just want to see when you're on the ground. It's like Zach's like picking up, throwing him off.
I'm like the Undertaker coming back from the dead.
Get out of there.
Ack, I'll tell you, I'm very happy that I cut you off before you were trying to explain what you were explaining. But Ack came running around the corner, and Ack was moving at a high-speed rate. And I'm like, what's the matter? And he goes, I have an opinion on 100 Samters or one Zach Gelb. And you have this big smile. I go, tell me at 5:30.
No, that's my rationale. Whether I'm right or wrong, who knows? I may not always be right, but I'm never wrong.
Well, Samter, how many Samters are there currently right now in the world? Around?
There's probably about like 20 of us.
All right.
15.
Start becoming Antonio Cromartie. Pop out a few more kids, and then we can see 100 Samters up against one Zach Gelb. That's what we end up doing.
Now, are they all the same age, though? I'm assuming they're the same age. If you got like Samter at 5,
you're right.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, I'm not going to be like beating up old man Samter like the grandfather with this cane, and I'm just like hitting him over the head, elderly abuse.
You know what? You take the good, you take the bad, because right now 45-year-old Samter is, he gets tired very easily.
Yeah, that's
25-year-old Samter can scrap. 19-year-old Samter was on the wrestling team, or 18-year-old Samter was on the wrestling team, right?
This
Played
portion of the
baseball,
program
played
is brought to you
football.
by Samter's Glory Days. We hear about Samter. If he didn't get hurt in football, he would have been Cam Scatterbo at Arizona State.
What was he, the placeholder?
Running people over.
Wow. Now
we gather
See,
here today
Ack,
at the
I
funeral
defend
of
you
Michael
all the
Samter.
time. I defend Ack all the time. I love Ack. And here he is just throwing shade.
Well, I had to do it for entertainment purposes. It's not
15 useless Samters. I love it.
So, out of 100, that's not bad. It's 15%. But, you got to figure you got a couple of red Samters there.
Man.
And you got a couple of hey, you want a piece of me? And I think all those guys are going to gang up. And I think, if they plan it right, they got a shot.
I would say that Ack could hold the grudge and Samter could hold the grudge. I'm very curious when Samter is going to let go of this grudge now that he has up against Ack. He's not even looking at Ack right now. He's so disgusted with what's going on. All righty, let's get the latest update in. Here is a man that just murdered Michael Samter. Oh, I put him in a body bag. Goodbye, Samter. Hello, Rich Ackerman. And hello to the latest Infinity Sports Network, Sports Flash.
Infinity Sports Network, Sports Flash.
The sacrifices you make for the show. Kentucky Derby winner Sovereignty is out of the Preakness, but planning to run in the Belmont Stakes next month. To the victor belongs the spoils. Florida head coach Todd Golden gets a 6-year extension after winning the national championship, and at over $40 million on the deal, it puts him among the highest paid coaches in the sport. One game in the major leagues right now, top of the 7th, first of 2 in Washington. The Nationals lead it by a score of 6-5. James Wood with his 10th home run of the season for the Nationals in this one. The Warriors and Timberwolves meet in Minnesota after both pulled off first-round upsets both had to scratch and claw their way into the playoffs. The Wolves went 8-1 to finish with the 6th seed and then knocked off the Lakers. And Golden State outlasts the Rockets in 7 games in the opening round. The first game of the night features the Pacers and Cavaliers in Cleveland. Indiana took the opener while the Cavs deal with several injuries. Darius Garland remains day-to-day with a toe injury. Both Evan Mobley and DeAndre Hunter remain questionable. A pair of Game 1s in the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. The Capitals host the Hurricanes. The Oilers and Golden Knights face off in Vegas. I'm Rich Ackerman.
This is the Infinity Sports Network. Follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Infinity Sports Network. That's Infinity Sports Network to follow us on Instagram.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
Alrighty, let's listen up to Joe Mazzulla. He always has interesting encounters when he speaks to the media. You can never tell if they're winning or losing. Well, they lost last night. The team missed 45 threes, and they were ice cold after having a big lead up by 20 at one point in the third and fourth quarter. Here's Joe Mazzulla on the dry spell from the Celtics.
Probably a combination of both. Have to have better play calling, have to make shots, have to make some better reads. So it's probably a combination of all those things. Have to be better.
Really learned a lot from that one. Here is Jaylen Brown on the team missing a record 45 three-pointers.
Some of them felt good. Some of them felt like we may be forced to issue. Definitely our rhythm and our timing was a little bit off. We got a lot of great looks, but, it may be some truth to that. We got to look at the film and see kind of what happened in that second half.
And let's continue on the Celtics approach where, let's be real, they weren't looking for any twos in that game. Jason Tatum, did they settle for just those three-point attempts?
Probably some times that we settled. I think for myself, I could have put more pressure on the rim. But, there was a lot of times we felt like we got some really, really good looks. We just couldn't convert. Obviously, in hindsight, if we could go back, we probably would drive the ball a little bit more because we missed a lot of shots tonight. But, there's a balance. Sometimes it's a make or miss lead. And then there's sometimes where, you can get a better shot.
And finally, here is Jaylen Brown saying that the Celtics couldn't stop the Knicks' momentum.
Yeah, in those moments when the other team got momentum, we can't just fire up threes. To break up momentum, you got to get to the free throw line, get to the paint, get to the basket, maybe get a easy two, hit some free throws, and then maybe the next three-pointer feels a little bit better. I feel like we just settled in the second half a lot, but we'll look at it and we'll make adjustments.
I was intently listening to all four of those answers. You had two from Jaylen Brown, one for Jason Tatum, one for Joe Mazzulla. That last one was the only one I liked from Jaylen Brown because at least it was an acknowledgement, like go get twos, right? Go to the free throw line. All the other stuff, didn't really sound all that convincing. And you look at the Celtics last night, you almost wanted to shake them like, hey, go drive. Get to the free throw line. Have some hard takes to the basket. It's amazing they just never did that. Here's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Thunder blew the game last night. The Nuggets are up 1-0. Here's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on the game 1 loss.
It should be good. It should be fun. We're going to find out what we're made of, what we're really made of. And we couldn't expect it to be smooth sailing this whole journey. No journey in life is, and we know that. Today is a bump in the road, unexpected. No one expects to lose, especially that way, but it's the game of life, so it's about how you respond to getting knocked down, and that's what we got to do next game.
Now, all this stuff is basically cliche. Mazzulla, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. At least Shai Gilgeous-Alexander sounds confident. Now, the other three guys are NBA champions. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's going to be MVP of the league this year, but he's not an NBA champion yet. I kind of like what I heard from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'd be a little bit surprised if the Thunder don't find the way to grab game 2 and make that series all tied up at 1 apiece. Here's Aaron Gordon. Did he know the shot was in when he took it down 1, made the 3, and the Nuggets stole game 1?
When I shot it, did I know it was in? I knew it wasn't a miss.
That's good.
Yeah.
So, there you go. Mark Daigneault, the reason why the Nuggets were in that position. is because he started fouling up 3 way too early. And you had Chet Holmgren miss 2 free throws as well that could have given them once again another 3-point lead. Here's Mark Daigneault on his late game fouling strategy.
The fouling up 3, that's on me. I think given the foul and getting the foul executed is critical. So if, there's something to be learned from that, it's probably giving it too early on my part. But that's not on the players. They're executing what I'm telling them to do.
Yeah, he's 100% right. I thought it was way too early. I like that he at least acknowledged. Daigneault and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I like what I heard from both of them. The Celtics, I didn't really like what I heard from them after the game. Now, the Celtics will come back. I think they'll still win the series. I hope they don't. But I don't like what I'm hearing from Boston. The Thunder, I like what I'm hearing even after losing a game like that, especially when you have an inexperienced group and you're wondering if they're going to be able to recover from that. I'll tell you right now, I got to look at what the gambling line is. I'm betting the Thunder in game 2. Draymond Green calls out Dylan Brooks. This is on the Draymond Green show.
Dylan Brooks ran off the court. So when I say you see what guys is made of, he ran off the court. Like, ain't shake nobody up. You admitted that you was trying to hurt Steph Hand, which, again, fine by me, bro. Like, I get it. We all get it when you hoop. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to be on that type of time,
you got to be on that time
in the press
you gotta
conference,
be on that time all the time.
You're going to be talking. You're going to be Mr. Big Bad Wolf. Don't lose and then not face the music. Don't be that guy because, again, you lose a lot of respect for guys in that moment. But that's who Dylan Brooks is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we understand, like, you a sucker, man. You like, don't be like that because you lose respect. When guys lose respect for you in this league, it don't matter and it's going to catch you in the end. Nobody on the court respects you.
A sucker's a good insult, I will say. Finally, Justin Jefferson, Bleacher Report, calls out QB-needy teams passing on Shedeur Sanders.
I think it's crazy that he dropped that far in the draft. I definitely don't think, he should have dropped that far. And just watching him the previous seasons and seeing the different things that he did at, Colorado, I definitely thought that he should have been drafted in that first, second round. I guess it's just more fire for him and more chip on his shoulder that he can use going into the league.
Where do you think he should have gone?
I mean, New York doesn't really have a quarterback. Steelers, Cleveland definitely does need a quarterback also.
I kind of don't disagree with him. I thought there were a lot of teams that passed on Shedeur. Even when the Browns were passing for a while before taking him, I thought was a mistake right there. Did we have an end result in this soccer game? As that ends the news brief, do we know who won?
Yes, Inter Milan won 7-6.
Wow. My day's now ruined. Barcelona lost. FC Barcelona, right? Isn't
That's
that
right.
Say it?
Yep.
That's disappointing. Are you upset about that, Samter?
You know what FC stands for?
Football club, right?
Wow, look at this
All
guy.
right.
Trying to show me
Football
up on my
club.
own show. All right. I don't even recognize that voice. I thought Samter died today on the air after what Act did to him.
99 more of me are coming after you.
One squash. Ryan Hollins, thank you. Stu, thank you. Samter, thank you. Act, thank you. And a big thank you to each and every one of you. We'll talk tomorrow, everybody, at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific time. Bye-bye. Peace.